Braves checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live in the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Ian Safara is here. Ian, welcome back. How are you?
What up, what up? Doing well, thank you.
Okay. So I yesterday was all Johnny Doom and Gloom. I was all worried about the Titans, talking about A.J. Brown and Harold Landry and replacing those guys. And shocking that when I woke up this morning and I put on Robbie and Rextra, that's exactly what they were talking about, was replacing A.J. Brown and Harold Landry being out. And surprise, surprise. So I was thinking about
do you feel better today?
For one reason.
Okay, good.
Because here's what I've decided. Like, we can talk about the AFC. We can talk about competing for the Super Bowl and everything else. We can all agree that the Titans are not going to compete for the Super Bowl this year. Like, that the Titans cannot win the Super Bowl this year, right?
I would not put my money on it.
Ian?
Say that's probably a fair bet.
Okay. So as long as we're all up front that this season is not a Super Bowl season, then we can move to, all right, what is the goal for this season? And if the goal is not a Super Bowl, because as we have all said, not to knock on Tannehill, but with him at quarterback, and then no A.J. Brown, and they really didn't replace A.J. Brown, and then no Harold Landry. I mean, come on now. They don't have a right tackle. They got a street free agent basically as a tight end, somebody that nobody else wanted. They got Robert Woods, which is good.
I think Austin Hooper is better than a street free agent.
Nobody wanted him.
I understand that that's kind of what he was, but I think he's better than that. I think he deserves to be called a little bit more than a street free agent.
Nobody wanted him.
Josh Gordon was a street free agent.
Nobody wanted him either.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted.
There's a difference between those two. Austin Hooper will start. Josh Gordon might not get off the practice squad.
Nobody wanted him. I mean, that's they got a
Just
right tackle
scraps.
that they took in the third round who, might literally, as Trevor Maddich said yesterday on the show, cost him the game. So let's just be real. When I look at the AFC, I get massive anxiety because I do see the quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, man, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr. I'm like, there's no way that the Tennessee Titans can play all these quarterbacks, make it to the playoffs and get a 1 seed like they did last year so that they'd only have to play 2 good AFC quarterbacks instead of 3 good AFC quarterbacks, and then beat a good NFC quarterback, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or whomever. So, what should be the goal? I think the goal is to win the division again.
I think that's a fair goal.
I think the goal is to make the playoffs again. And because of the AFC, and all the teams the Titans have to play, every team that is an AFC contender, except for maybe the Ravens, the Titans play. They play all of them. They play Denver, they play the Chargers, they play Kansas City, they play Buffalo, they play Indianapolis, they play them all. I don't think the Titans can consistently be better than those teams. So the only thing that I my hat on for this season to get excited about is making the playoffs would be to win the division, and that all that would require is being better than Indianapolis. Now, everybody out there is putting out their predictions for the season. We will have ours tomorrow on the program. But everybody out there is putting out their predictions, and I mean everybody is picking the Indianapolis Colts, except for Peter King, who did pick the Titans. Everybody else is picking the Colts. The Monday Morning Quarterback, Sports Illustrated, had all of their writers give their rankings. Every single one of them, except for 2 people, picked the Colts to win the division, and I don't even know the 2 people who picked the Titans. Like, I've never heard of them. And so this is it. Like, everybody is picking Indianapolis. I understand why everybody is picking Indianapolis. But as much as I've been doom and gloom on the Titans, especially since Harold Landry got hurt, as much as I've been doom and gloom, the one thing that I will say is I am not ready to concede this division to the Indianapolis Colts because I don't have that much respect for the Indianapolis Colts. And so when I look at the season and I tell myself, okay, how do I really feel? Not this sense of like every team thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, good luck to the Falcons. But like, how do I really feel about the season? I don't think they can win the Super Bowl with Tannehill. I don't think their team is good enough to beat these great quarterbacks 3 times in a row to get to the Super Bowl. And I'm not going to hold them accountable to that. But I'm not ready to sit there and tell you the Indianapolis Colts going to win this division. The Indianapolis Colts are like Florio just put out his predictions of Pro Football Talk. He's got the Colts going to the AFC Championship game.
That's far too rich for my blood.
So let's start with this. How do we feel about the Colts and the Titans in the division? Throw Jacksonville, throw Houston, throw it in there, because every single person across the country is picking, except for Peter King, is picking the Indianapolis Colts to win this division. And as I said, I'm not ready to give the Colts that level of respect. I think their quarterback is a fine quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback anymore. Nobody, when we talk about the quarterbacks of the AFC, and we're talking about these $50 million guys. You know, Russell's 49, Allen's 43, Mahomes is 42, maybe 45. Lamar's going to be whatever the hell he wants. Deshaun is 46, fully guaranteed. Burrow's going to be 50. Herbert's going to be 51. Like, once those guys, nobody ever talks about Matt Ryan there, and nobody should talk about Matt Ryan there. They've got no wide receivers outside of Michael Pittman. And not to say that the Madden ratings are the end-all, be-all of everything. The Madden ratings view A.J. Brown as an 87 overall, which is probably about right. They view Robert Woods as an 86. They view Michael Pittman as an 83. So it's not like Michael Pittman is all of a sudden Michael Irvin. So they got Michael Pittman. They got no tight ends. They got no wide receivers. They got a question mark at left tackle. They got a question mark at right tackle. Their defense is okay. The Titans have played the Colts every single year, and every single year the Colts defense is okay. It is never a smothering defense. They lost their defensive coordinator. They went out, got Gus Bradley. The Titans played Gus Bradley all the time when he was in Jacksonville. And their defense was at times terrible, but for the most part, okay. That's what it is. Okay. The Indianapolis Colts are an okay team. So when I'm sitting here talking about the season, I look at it like this. Win the division. If you don't win the division, then we're going to have problems. If you win the division, then anything past that is a bonus. But I think it is completely fair, even with the Landry injury, even with Treylon Burks' inability so far to step into A.J. Brown's shoes, even with everything else, the number 1 seed last year, and with everything else going on, the Tennessee Titans should still be better than the Indianapolis Colts. And so even though the Colts have a better schedule, and the schedule is a big deal, even though the Colts have a better schedule, I'm not ready to concede this division to Indy. And I know, that people will say every year in hockey, just get into the playoffs and see what happens. And like last year, Jared, if the Predators just get in the playoffs, let's see what happens. And it was like, hey, they're going to beat the Colorado Avalanche. No. If the Titans make it to the playoffs this year, if they win the division, they'll probably be the 4th seed in the AFC, which means that, trying to think, the 4th seed would then play the best wild card team. So the Titans are probably looking at the Chargers or the Raiders or the Broncos, whoever finishes second in that AFC West is coming in here, and then they'll probably be underdogs. But I'm okay with that. And if Russell Wilson comes in here and beats them, then Russell Wilson comes in here and beats them. If they win a game here and then they go on the road to Buffalo or they go on the road to Kansas City or they go on the road to wherever, Cincinnati, and they lose, fine. But this idea that the Titans are just going to roll over for the Colts, I'm not. No, we are not going to do what everybody else around the country is doing as far as the Indianapolis Colts are concerned, and giving them some line of credit in which they have not demonstrated the deservedness to have. So that's how I now feel about the season. Yesterday, I was down about the A.J. Brown and Harold Landry and the lack of replacing there, and that is a problem. But as far as the season, let's keep it real around here. They should be better than the Colts.
They should be better than the Colts. But, I mean, you're kind of looking at the Colts and saying, well, they don't have any wide receivers. They don't have a tight end. They have a question mark at right tackle and left tackle. Well, do you feel great about the Titans' pass-catching core?
I feel better about the Titans coach. And so, by extension, I feel better about the pass-catching core. To be honest with you, yes. I do feel better about the Titans pass catching core.
Better than Indianapolis? Or do you feel good
Indianapolis
about it?
is crap.
Michael
Who's their
Pittman
tight
is about
end?
it.
Who's their tight end?
Don't know, don't care.
Who's their second wide receiver?
Paris Campbell?
Nope.
I don't know.
Alec Pierce.
Okay.
Who's their third wide receiver?
Does it matter?
Ashton Doolin is their third wide receiver. Their leading pass catcher outside of old buddy Pittman. And Pittman, again, Pittman's fine. He's not great. Their leading pass catcher is going to be Nyheim Hines. And every time Nyheim Hines gets in the game, they're taking Jonathan Taylor out. Indy is a very flawed team. And so that's why I guess I'm almost offended at the level of just presumptive success that people are giving the Colts.
Well, you know it's not about wide receivers.
What's it about?
The quarterback.
But their quarterback's not that good.
Everybody thinks that he is, though, and that's the thing. If Matt Ryan was in Atlanta, he would not be getting anywhere close to the amount of love that he is getting now that he's in Indianapolis.
Were there any
nobody
talks?
really believes in Matt Ryan right now.
Were there any talks like before last season when they were going over the divisions and they were like, all right, NFC South. Tom Brady's in Tampa Bay. But Matt Ryan in Atlanta is just the man.
No!
So
Nobody was saying that.
And that's what everybody's doing now with Indianapolis.
I think it's a change of scenery, and everyone blames the Falcons' shortcomings over the last couple of years on the people around Matt Ryan, not necessarily on Matt Ryan. People look at Matt Ryan like Super Bowl Matt Ryan, not necessarily the Matt Ryan that he is now, which is, I mean, fine. He's not a bad quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback by any means. He is middle of the road. He is fine. He's not the kind of quarterback that completely turns around your franchise. I think a lot of people are viewing Matt Ryan as the answer to all of the Colts' prayers.
Can Matt Ryan be the Tannehill of the Colts?
But he's not Andrew Luck. He is more like Phillip Rivers.
But can he be the – Phillip Rivers wasn't that bad quarterback, though.
But I'm saying he was a patchy quarterback that got them from one year to another.
Can he be the Tannehill of the Colts? Because Tannehill, we can sit here and talk about Tannehill all we want. This was a franchise that had been to the playoffs one time in 15 years and had won one playoff game in 20 years. And Ryan Tannehill showed up and they've been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. I mean, there is no doubt. As much as we knock on Tannehill, there is no doubt that the day that they put Ryan Tannehill in as the starting quarterback for the Titans, everything around here changed. They were a team that missed the playoffs in 2018. They were 2-4. They had been to the playoffs that one season and won that one game where Mariota threw a touchdown pass to himself. And nobody thought the Titans were a crap organization at that point. And they put Ryan Tannehill in, and it changed everything. And now, like, I am telling you that I think there are going to be people that are disappointed when we say that we don't think this team can compete for the Super Bowl, that are going to be like, what do you mean? We went to the AFC Championship game, Jared. We won the division last year. We were the number 1 seed. And it's because the bar has been raised, and in large part, the bar has been raised because of Tannehill. Can Matt Ryan be that?
I don't think that he can be that. I think that he can be a serviceable replacement for this year, maybe next year, win some games.
Do you think Matt Ryan can make a Pro Bowl?
No, I do not.
See, I that's where I think the jury's out on. You know, there is some argument here, and I do believe that these things work themselves out. Like, I believe in pure cause and effect. So I believe that Brady versus Belichick, I think we have our answer. Why? Because Brady went somewhere else and won, and Belichick hasn't. So Matt Ryan, it's why was Matt Ryan not doing well in Atlanta? Because that team stunk in Atlanta. They had, they were falling apart. Thomas Dimitroff did a bad job there at the end. Bad coaching. Falcons this, Falcons. Or was old man Matt Ryan just not good enough anymore? And I don't know the answer to that.
I think we'll get our answer pretty soon.
And so that may be the determining factor in this. But right now, this is how I feel about the start of the season. It's about the Colts. This year's about the Colts. I have now become hyper-focused on the Colts. I don't think the Titans can win in the AFC. I certainly don't think the Titans could beat an NFC team in the Super Bowl if it's Brady or Rodgers or somebody who beats Brady or Rodgers. But I do think that this team should be better than the Colts. Let's start there. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025 here on the program. And coming up next here, we'll get your thoughts in on this. The one thing that I am going to give the Colts, that I think we do have to give the Colts when assessing whether or not the Titans can win this division, is the fact that the Titans are 2-4. They have been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And I think that the Colts, when assessing whether or not the Titans can win this division, is the fact that the Titans are 2-4. They have been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And I think that the Colts, when assessing whether or not the Titans can win this division, is the fact that the Titans are 2-4. They have been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And I think that the Colts, when assessing whether or not the Titans can win this division, is the fact that the Titans are 2-4. They have been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And I think that the Colts, when assessing whether or not the Titans can win this division, is the fact that the Titans are 2-4. They have been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And I think that the Colts, when assessing whether or not the Titans can win this division, is the fact that the Titans are 2-4. They And it's not something I think I've ever given somebody before. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
Is brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, September 7th, we're running an unprecedented one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. Even Cambridge has studied our technology. If you're ready to transform your love life, grab your phone. Today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, you'll get a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is our most lucrative offer ever, worth $1,200. But call today, Wednesday, and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors. Part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Z Series mowers and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for $0 down, 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details. 3 locations to serve you: Columbia Kubota, Franklin Kubota, and Krebs Kubota. ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com or KrebsKubota.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
What did you think of their addition to Matt Ryan?
I mean, they've had a new quarterback every year. We'll get ready for Matt when it's time to play the Colts, you know. So they've had, a couple different quarterbacks in there each and every year.
There you go. That was Vrabel at minicamp after the Colts acquired Matt Ryan. It's like, what did you think of the Colts adding Matt Ryan? Do I have to answer this question? They have a new, but then Vrabel did take that dig at them with they've had a new quarterback every year.
That was kind of savage. And I don't know if he meant it to be sassy.
You mean like savage towards me or savage towards them?
savage towards them. I think and I don't know if it was an intentional sassiness or if he's just pointing out the truth, because it is the truth. But either way, it came off very savage.
So the one thing I am going to give the Colts because again, I think the Super Bowl, I mean, look, I'm planning to go to the Super Bowl this year, not the actual game, but I plan on being in Arizona for the Super Bowl.
I plan on being in Arizona for the Super Bowl.
All right.
Do you want to hang out?
I mean, I would assume that if I'm there and you're there, that we'll probably be spending a lot of time together. But more importantly, I don't expect the Titans to be there this year. I cannot see how you could argue the Titans as a Super Bowl team. Now, crazier things have happened, but I just don't see it. But I'm not giving up the division to the Colts. The one thing that I would say, though, is I'm going to give Indianapolis a 2-game lead from the start. Indy gets a 2-game lead because their schedule includes a trip to Minnesota in a dome, which for them is like an hour flight, and they're playing in a dome. Mm-hmm. For the Titans, it's a trip to Green Bay in December. Much different. So that, I think that cross right there. They play Pittsburgh. The Titans play Joe Burrow and Cincinnati, and they play at New England. Now, that's later in the year, I believe, if I'm looking at Indy's schedule. Why can't I find it on there? It's really not. It's in the middle of the year, but they go to New England. Whereas, for the Titans, they have to go to Buffalo the second week. So Vrabel usually pulls a game or two like that out of his butt. And at the same time, Indianapolis loses games that they should win. So instead of a 3-game advantage, I'm going to give Indy a 2-game advantage. Is that fair?
I think that's fair.
Ian, do you think a 2-game advantage for the Colts based off the schedule is fair?
Okay, I buy it.
Okay. Can the Titans overcome that?
I do think they can.
I mean, you know what that requires, right?
Beating Indianapolis.
They got to beat them both times.
Yes.
Because not only if they beat them both times, they get the 2-game advantage.
Uh-huh.
Then it's basically who's better, Titans or Colts, because their schedule at that point is the same. And so if we're saying who's better straight up, Titans or Colts, and we take the schedule out of it, I'm going to take the Titans simply off of coaching alone. I think, we went over this last week. Quarterback plays probably even. Running back plays probably even. Offensive line probably swings Colts. Defensive line's probably even. Secondary's probably the Titans. Linebackers Colts. Special teams probably even. Coaching Titans.
Would you say the defensive line is even?
Yeah, I mean, look at their defensive line. DeForest Buckner, Yannick Ngakoue, Kwity Paye, and Grover Stewart.
It's pretty good.
And so the Titans lose Harold Landry, and that's why I think it's fairly even. Now, and let's not kid ourselves. Like, Simmons is good. DeForest Buckner is established good. Like, Simmons, this tells you, like, the difference between established good and being good, because they're two totally different things. It's like when I talk about a guy, like Josh Gordon is established good, but Josh Gordon doesn't even really belong in the NFL. DeForest Buckner made the Pro Bowl last year, and Simmons didn't. Like, Simmons ended up being named to the Pro Bowl, but remember, it was like a huge controversy.
I do remember that.
That Jeffrey Simmons didn't make the Pro Bowl.
I do remember that.
So, the Titans have to beat the Colts twice. That's it. I mean, and if they don't beat them, then the 2-game advantage, if they only beat them once, then the 2-game advantage stays at 2. If they lose to them both times, it's a 4-game advantage.
And they don't get that advantage in the division as well. Not even just the record overall, but just not having that advantage of beating them twice.
Yes. So just thinking about it, I mean, because really those 2 games really equal 3. So if they lose both, then they're really 5 back.
Oh, if they lose to the Colts twice, they're done. They're not
It's
winning
over.
the division. No.
It's over.
That's the Colts division on a silver platter right there, is if the Colts beat the Titans twice.
So do you think the Titans can beat the Colts twice this year?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I would bet on them splitting the games, just because I think that these two teams are even enough that I'll give 1 game to Indy and 1 game to the Titans. I'll split the difference. I think the Titans can beat the Colts twice. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So then if they split over 12 games, can the Titans make up 2?
They're going to have to beat one of those 3 tough teams.
And not lose to any of the bad teams.
It's going to be really tough.
They have to beat the Colts twice. This is the reality of the season.
Unless we're giving Indianapolis too much credit in those 3 games.
Well, we're only giving them 2 of the 3.
I know. Are we giving them too much credit in those 2 of the 3 games? And also, are we giving Indianapolis?
Pittsburgh.
Are we giving them
Pittsburgh compared to Cincinnati?
Are we giving them too much credit that they're not going to lose one of those bad games too? I mean, let's not forget they ended the season on a loss to the Jags.
I cannot bank on the Colts losing a bad game.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm saying, like, if we're talking about the Titans realistically winning the division this year, then they cannot. Like those things have a way of evening themselves out, right? Like, okay, so the Colts lost to the Jags, and that was bad. Well, the Titans lost to the Texans, and that was bad.
Yeah.
And so those things even themselves out. The real question is, the nitty-gritty. They both play the Cowboys. Can the Titans take advantage of the fact that the Thursday game against the Cowboys is at home? And I believe Indy's game at the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken, might be a Thursday.
It is the Sunday before their bye week. After they actually host Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football, and then the next week is at Dallas, then their bye week. I do wonder
short week.
If it matters. The bye weeks are in complete opposite situations in the calendar. The Titans is super early. The Colts is super late. I don't know. Does that matter? Would you rather have it one way or the other?
So here's an added benefit for the Titans, and this is because of the NFL scheduling computers. So the NFL scheduling computers that they put in everything, can't have it on this date because that's the George Washington Remembrance Day. So they have all this kind of stuff. And the scheduling computer kept spitting out Jets at Packers on Thursday Night Football. But the league, since Amazon paid $10 trillion, and this is exactly...
We don't want your crappy football team on our airwaves.
So remember how we always talk about this with college football, right? This sense of, they got the New York market with Rutgers, so let's put them in the Big Ten.
Nobody cares about the New York market.
And now they don't care about that stuff anymore. Now all they care about is who can get the most eyeballs to the TV for that one specific game that they really want.
Yeah, nobody in New York is watching Rutgers.
So think about this. The scheduling computers, Peter King reported this months ago. The scheduling computers kept putting out Jets versus Packers on Thursday night as the Thursday night game. And the NFL said we cannot do that to Amazon, who's paying $1 trillion for this package. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to put the Titans there on Thursday Night Football since they think the Titans are a better TV draw than the Jets, which is amazing to me that the Titans would be a better TV draw than New York. And that was that told me that the markets now don't matter anymore. And it's just the popularity of the teams or the interesting factor of the games.
Star players.
Yes. It's like in college football. What's the rankings? Oh, I got 12 playing 4. Okay. So.
And also, it's not just about the Jets. It's about the fact that the Jets are going to get their butts handed to them. And that's not interesting to watch.
Oh, the Titans are going to too. But
it's so much more obvious with the Jets and the Packers.
So the bigger key to this, though, is that the Titans get too many buys at the end of the season. Because the Thursday Night Football presents essentially a mini bye, which is you play on Thursday and then you're off until the next Sunday and the players can go on vacation for like a weekend or whatever. And the Titans get to do that twice towards the end of the year, so it does kind of mitigate the early bye for whatever that's worth, which I'm not sure what it is worth, but it is worth something.
Yeah, I think we're kind of digging.
The Titans are one of 2 teams. They get 2 Thursday night games. Dallas is the other, and that's because Dallas has to play on Thanksgiving. So I will just say the real question has to be either can the Titans beat the Colts twice, which I think they have to do, or can they make up a 2-game swing over 12 games?
What is the Vrabel stat after the baby bye?
They've never lost. The only week in which they've ever lost with a bye under Vrabel is the Bengals game.
Oof.
That's the only one. And it's only one guy's fault. 615-737-1025. We're to your phones on this. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. Caroline, tell us about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook report. Now, first things first, your first bet with Caesars, it is on Caesars up to $1,250. Just download the app and use promo code RADIOFULL. It's one word, Radio Full, and then place your first bet. And if you win, then congratulations. But if not, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. You'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, Caesars has an odds boost going on tonight. Here it is. A parlay. No run the first inning. The Braves at A's, Tigers at Angels and Giants, and Tigers at Angels, and Giants at Dodgers tonight with plus 500 odds. So you think that it's going to be low-scoring games early on in the game? Put some money on it. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Road line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Labor Day is here, and that means huge savings in every department at Electronic Express. Get up to 40% off the latest 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. That's not all. Save big on laptops, speakers and headphones, smart home, and more. Up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing. The Labor Day sales event is going on now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey, Willie Donick here. Are you feeling the sting of higher interest rates and higher costs? Those credit cards and other loans are costing more and more every month, and inflation is making everything else more expensive. Your home can save you right now. Your home's value is up, and there's a ton of cash in it, and you can access it with Loan Pronto. They specialize in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. And yes, VA loans are eligible. With a VA loan, you can access up to 100% of your home's value. So pay off high-rate credit cards and other loans. Consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut about $800 or more from their monthly budget. So if your home mortgage rate goes up a point or so, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. So call Loan Pronto and unlock that equity and wipe out the bad debt. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Psst. Something's hatching at the Nashville Fair. 4 nights, 4 bands, and 4 themes. Come on out to Nashfest 2022, presented by Nashville Soccer Club. Enjoy live music, games, food, and signature drinks. All 4 festivals are free with fair admission. Eat local and drink local, where locals play. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair.
Your home for Hit City is 94.9 The Fan.
Your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series against the Charlotte Knights.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 5:20.
On your home for Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Every year people pick the Colts, and the Colts have won one playoff game since Frank Reich got there in 2018. That was beating the Texans in the playoffs in 2018 when Andrew Luck had a great game. So they may be better with Matt Ryan, but I don't see them being a Super Bowl contender. The Titans, as you know, got last year, the loss of Derrick Henry for the second half of the season, and the way they continued to run the ball with a bunch of Texans rejects was amazing, a philosophy. And it's kind of throwback football. And without Derrick Henry and the play action that he provides, Ryan Tannehill's not the same quarterback. So to me, as long as Henry is healthy, he not only gives them a great weapon and a threat to rush for 2,000 yards, but he also is a great weapon for Tannehill to work that play action magic. And I do think, after watching A.J. Brown destroy the Texans, I do think that the loss of A.J. Brown will be significant.
There you go. That was John McClain talking about the AFC South. Again, everybody except for Peter King is picking the Indianapolis Colts to win the AFC South. With that, we go to your phones because our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Caroline, what do we have?
One texter texts in and says, have you guys forgotten the winning formula for the Titans? A great D plus great running game will keep them in any game against any team.
Okay, the Titans have made the playoffs 3 years in a row. The Titans had a great defense for about 6 games of those 3 seasons. So over the course of 3 years with Vrabel, I mean, I guess he's been the coach now for 4 years, but the 3 years that Vrabel has been the coach, 19, 20, and 21, where they made the playoffs, the Titans played a total of, 32 plus 17. What is that, 45?
What is it, plus 17?
32?
45.
45 or 55?
45.
55.
45.
It's 45?
What was it? 32 plus 17?
Yeah.
It's 45.
49.
49.
Oh, my God.
So over the course, this is why you don't do math on the air. Over the course of 49 games, the Titans have had a great defense for about 6 of them. Chiefs last year, Rams last year, on the road to the Colts last year.
Bengals last year.
Playoff game against the Bengals last year. Playoff game against the Ravens. Dean Pease locked it up. Okay, so that's 5. 5 games where it was like the defense balled out. Miami last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6. So over that period, 6. The key for the Titans, and I don't know what Vrabel does. I don't know how Vrabel does this. I can't describe it. The key for it with the Titans is they just find ways to win. It's like all these teams that have never won before. They lose, and then they win, and they come out and say, we had to learn how to win. The Buffalo Bills have to learn how to win. That's what it is. That's why Kansas City beat them last year. Robbie Stanley was taking his stupid pills this morning, and he was talking about how the Buffalo defense wasn't that good. I'm like, what are you talking about?
The defense was one of the best in the NFL.
They were number 1 in total defense. They were number 1 in points allowed. But he was like, well, they gave up that score with 13 seconds left against Kansas City, so they were no good. And I'm like, that's not it. The Bills have to learn how to win. The Bills have to learn how to win. So every team that doesn't know how to win, they always, when they do, we had to learn how to win. I truly believe that the Titans know how to win. And I don't know why, because it's not like
you know why.
It's the coach.
Yes.
It's not like the quarterback is this huge all-time winner. Now, the running back is. The running back was a winner in college. The running back, he is a winner. I mean, I don't want to go back and look up MTSU's, outcomes.
I'm sure they were wonderful.
Now Jeffrey Simmons was part of a Mississippi State team that was number 1 in the country, and Dak Prescott was their quarterback. And so maybe, was Simmons a part of that team?
2015? 2014?
Yeah, Simmons might not have been a part of that team.
That was 2014. When was he drafted?
2019. So if he was there for 3 years, so he would have been part of that.
Yeah.
So, whatever. I'm not going to think about that in my head right now.
He wasn't there.
But basically, the coach knows how to win. That's it. The coach. And so, I don't know. There's no formula. There's no formula for how the Titans win these games. The Titans won the Patriots game because Ryan Tannehill hit Anthony Ferguson for 2 huge plays. The Titans won the Ravens playoff game because Tannehill hit a bomb to Khalif Raymond. The Titans there's no formula for the Titans to win. And if there was a formula for the Titans to win, we can flush that down the toilet because A.J. Brown's gone. So this great defense, run the ball. Now, running the ball is a big part of it.
Yeah.
But that's because he's the best player on the team and maybe the best player in the league. But other than that, it's pretty much just find a way, Vrabel. And somehow Ian, do you remember when Mike Vrabel stuck that extra man out there against the Jets in 2018?
Was it the Jets game?
Yeah. And he did it again later in a different game. And I don't know if it worked or didn't work, but he did the same thing. So what happens is...
He's good at manipulating the rules, pulling a little Belichick.
So just decline the penalty. I mean, it was tough. What happened was the Titans were trying to use their timeouts to get the ball back. But the Jets, I think they had 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. And the Jets were set up at 2nd and 1. And so if the Jets get a first down, then the downs reset. And so then the Titans would have to take a timeout on the play that got them a first down, then first down, second down, and they wouldn't be able to use another timeout. So Vrabel stuck a 12th man on the field. And so they called, too many men, and it was an automatic first down. But then the Titans didn't have to burn that timeout on the play in which the team got the first down. Todd Bowles took it. The Titans used their timeouts, got the ball back, went down the field, and won the game. And so Vrabel's got that in him. That's that formula. That's it. He knows how to win. There is no other, here is the philosophy of the Titans. There is no philosophy. It is Vrabel finds a way. What's next?
Another texter texts into the text line and says, looking at the Colts and the Titans, they see two very close teams' rosters. I think Ryan and Tannehill pretty much equal one of the main problems, being able to play. I'm having a difficult time trying to just
go to the next one.
This text is saying, okay. Josh texts
in. It's like a caller with a bad phone. We couldn't understand it.
I'm sorry. I can't follow. Sewell texts in and says, A, we had the number 1 seed with a lot more injuries last year. B, all of this national media attention on Indy is what the Titans thrive on. They love being the underdog.
The second part, I'll buy. The first part, I don't want to sound like Belichick, but what happened last year doesn't matter this year. The only thing about winning the 1 seed last year that matters for the Titans is that their schedule is now significantly harder than that of the Colts. And sometimes that doesn't matter because last year what it meant for the Titans was they got New Orleans at home and Indianapolis got Tom Brady. But this year it does matter because Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, and Josh Allen's way different than Kirk Cousins and Mitch Trubisky and Mac Jones. And so other than that, the idea of we got the 1 seed last year. Yeah, that doesn't matter. I don't want to sound like Belichick and be like, every year's different. Tannehill today was asked a question about the Cincinnati game, and Tannehill was talking about how big of an impact that it's had on him. But then, of course, we're not thinking about last year.
But I think
can't have it both ways.
The only thing about last year is expectations. If you got the number 1 seed in the AFC last year, so everyone is expecting you to win games and to make the playoffs. I don't think it means anything other than that.
I do, by the way, owe an apology when we talk about everyone except for Peter King. Kyle Brandt. Ian, do we have this?
1 second, please.
So Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football. Now, Kyle Brandt, it's weird. Kyle Brandt always picks the Titans. He's like the Buck Rising of national media. He does things to appease Titans Twitter.
Yeah, do you think he's homies with Vrabel?
I don't know. But it's amazing. And so Kyle Brandt was on Good Morning Football, and he was talking about I didn't see the segment. I just saw the video. He was talking about the Colts. And again, everybody's picking the Colts because somebody tweeted me and said Kyle Brandt literally picked the Titans yesterday. And I'm like, you're right. When we say Peter King, we need to include Kyle Brandt. This is what Kyle Brandt said about the Colts on Good Morning Football.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. The Titans. Okay. Have you been watching football? Okay. Wow, they added Matt Ryan. I don't know when Matt Ryan became Joe Montana. I respect him and everything, but did we lose Derrick Henry? Did we lose Mike Vrabel? I understand and respect Harold Landry's career. I don't think the entire franchise is going to collapse because Harold Landry got injured. Respect what he put in. I hope he heals up and makes plays. These guys are in the playoffs every year, every week. They're always there. Tannehill's boring. You're boring, okay? You think this is the greatest show on turf? All right? I'm sorry. I love you, Frank, and all those guys. I'm going to take the Titans. I'm the only one at the table to pick the Titans to win it.
And that includes Jason McCourty, who played on the Titans, and I think still lives here.
And that was a very spirited support of the Titans. It wasn't, I'm kind of split, but I'll lean Titans. Have you been watching football?
I will say this, though. Kyle Brandt does often go out of his way to appease Titans Twitter. I mean, I think he enjoys it.
Probably.
But he's picking the Titans, so we need to include him along with Peter King. Chris Sanders will join us next. Here's my question for Chris Sanders. And that is, can this group overcome the loss of A.J. Brown? Because I heard Joe this morning, they're all talking around it about can this group actually overcome losing A.J. Brown? Because if they can't, it's going to be a really big mountain for them to climb. We'll get to that with Chris coming up next. Hey, this Saturday and Sunday, the Chainsmokers hit Music City at the Blended Wine and Music Festival. 24 bands, 2 stages, 1 weekend, all under the Nashville skyline. Buy your tickets now at blendedfestival.com. That's blendedfestival.com.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Craig Bobis. Today, humid and temperatures in the middle 80s. Once again, just like your Tuesday, the morning brings us the chance for a few areas of patchy fog. That fog will lift and give us the chance for a few isolated rain showers late morning into early afternoon.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
To know what makes Genesis Diamonds so special, you have to understand its origin. Back when owner Boaz Ramon used to sell diamonds only to jewelry stores.
I was selling to more than 700 jewelry stores. I didn't like what I saw.
What he saw in retail stores was grossly inflated prices, limited selection, pricing games, and a sales process that put the customer at a disadvantage. And it motivated this wholesaler to start his own retail revolution.
My passion was to build a place where the customer is going to be very informed. We're not going to hide any information from him. We're not going to have to get diamonds from other people. We're not going to mark up our prices to mark them down.
So Genesis was born. No middleman markups, no commission salespeople, industry-leading warranties, 30 times the selection, a no-holds-barred diamond education that empowers the customer, and a refreshing, relaxed, no-pressure atmosphere.
We created a place where the consumer is the king.
Come and get the royal treatment today. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
Chase McCabe.
Competition in all positions.
Willie Donick.
You know what? I went on the radio and I tried.
And Derek Mason.
The man that sleeps on the floor never falls out to bed.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Tune in for Sounds Baseball tonight at 5:35 on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds are on the road taking on the Charlotte Knights, a AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza and Farm Bureau Health Plans. And the Titans injury report is out. Lonnie Johnson and Elijah Molden did not practice with groin injuries. I thought it was an ankle for Molden that was keeping him out. Maybe it's a groin. Who knows? Maybe it was an ankle. Now it is a groin.
Yeah.
So who knows? But the Titans get set to take on the Giants. Chris Sanders joins us now on the program, former Titans receiver. Chris, when they made the trade at the draft, A.J. Brown out, Traylon Burks in, I felt like it was the right move.
Right.
And I understood why they did it. Now I'm looking at this team, and I don't see A.J. Brown, and I don't see a replacement for A.J. Brown. And if I don't see an A.J. Brown, I don't know how they're going to be better than they were on offense last year, even with Woods and Hooper and those guys, unless Traylon Burks steps up to the plate. How hard is the lack of a go-to big-time receiver like A.J. Brown going to be for this Titans team starting on Sunday?
I mean, it's going to be tough, but A.J. Brown was that guy that will make the clutch catches, and we all know that. But in the back of my mind, I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying this. I think Traylon Burks is going to be huge. And the reason why I say this is because if you look at when A.J. Brown first got in the league, they were saying the same thing about A.J. Brown. He's hurt. He hasn't done anything in preseason. Then all of a sudden he gets in the first couple of games, and he just tears it up. Maybe that same thing can happen with Traylon Burks to where all of a sudden Todd Downing puts him in position to make those catches, give him a screen early or give him a jump ball early for him to get his confidence. So if he gets his confidence and does what he did against Alabama and Auburn and teams in the SEC, don't be surprised if this dude has a 100-yard catch, over 100 yards.
Okay, let's say that they don't get that from Burks. Is there anybody else who can kind of step up and do what they need done, considering that Robert Woods is not a number one receiver in the NFL?
All right, I know, Woods can probably do it. I know he's going to make some clutch catches. I know that Kyle Phillips is going to, keep the chain moving. But, I know the guy that we've been talking about all season is Westbrook, Akina. I think he may not stretch the field. He may not take the top off the defense, but he'll still come up with that big catch and keep the chains moving. So even though if Traylon Burks doesn't come out the gate full speed, I still think that you have 3 or 4 receivers that can really go out there and make some plays.
Can they do this without taking the top off the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think they can. I think they can. They just got.
You don't sound very convinced, Chris.
I'm trying the best I can. I mean, they're going to have to, because the reason why I say they have to is because those guys are going to get man-on-man coverage, and if they can't be man-to-man coverage, then yes, we are definitely in trouble. And Don Martindale, the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants, he's going to blitz like crazy. So they're going to have to make those plays on the perimeter. If they don't, it could be a long day, but I think they can. I think they really can.
Chris, Ryan Tannehill got up there and talked about the Cincinnati game today, talked about how they've moved on from last year, but how it's still playing a big impact on him given how it ended. How much do you think the Cincinnati game still sticks in his craw, and how do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it's a good thing because it's going to fuel him to make some plays. And, and a lot of times people think that, football players are not human. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because when we lost the Super Bowl in 1999, that still bothers me to this day, and I can't do anything about it. And the same thing with Tannehill. He had a bad taste in his mouth, in the Cincinnati game, to where he threw 3 interceptions and, he was upset and he didn't play his best game. You don't believe that this is going to fuel him to make some plays and put the team on his difference? Just watching him in practice. I went and watched him practice a couple of times this year. There's a different look in his eyes. There's a different pep in his step. There's a different leadership quality that he's had. And sometimes you got to go through adversity that brings out the best in you. And I think that the situation with Cincinnati, it's going to bring the best out of him. And I think he's going to have a fantastic year.
Chris, what do you think about the defense against the Giants on Sunday?
I think we're going to be okay. I know they lost Landry, which is a big piece of this defense, but I still think with Autry, Simmons, and Odaye and Weaver, I think that they're still going to be okay. I mean, I understand that they lost a big piece with Landry, but with those other guys, they just put so much pressure, especially with Simmons, that just demands the double team. So even though Landry's not there and he had 12 sacks last year, don't forget that Autry had 9 last year. So I still think that they can still put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, but if Autry had 9 last year, you need Autry to repeat his 9, and then you need somebody else to get 12.
I think he can, but you got to look at the situation last year that when Dupree came in, he wasn't 100% healthy. Now he's 100% healthy, and if he plays like he did when he played with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, that's just going to boost your defense even better. Because if you look at last year, he was kind of unsure about that knee. Now he's really sure that, he can play full speed, and that's just going to make your defense overall even better.
Chris Sanders is our guest, former Titans receiver. Chris, do you think that this team is going to be better this season than they were last season?
Dang, that's a cool enough question. I don't know. And the reason why I say I don't know is because, the offensive line situation. I mean, I know they struggled last year in some spots and in some games, but, that's the only thing that really concerns me about, this Tennessee Titans team is the offensive line. Can they protect Tannehill? Can they have the open lanes for the outside zone for Derrick Henry? So it's up in there. I really don't know. So it's going to be all what they do in this first game. If they come out and slop around and they don't open up any lanes for Derrick Henry, and Tannehill consistently gets hit, then I'm going to be in panic mode and be concerned. But if they go out there and Derrick has 120 yards and Traylon Burks has 115 yards receiving, then I'm going to be really excited about this team.
Chris, how worried are you of the right tackle?
Oh man, you are putting the pressure on me today. I'm a little concerned, and I'm not just concerned because he's a rookie. PT, Petit Ferreira. I'm just calling him PT. But he's going into a situation to where a defensive coordinator is going to blitz like crazy, and if you're not a veteran and you don't know what you're doing, they're going to expose you. Yes, I'm concerned, but they're going to have to figure out a way to protect him. That's what I'm concerned about.
Chris Sanders is our guest here on the program. Chris, I don't think this is just a Nashville thing, but I have been on the radio here long enough to know that this happens literally every time, that there's an old receiver that the Titans pick up that used to be good, and every time it's like, oh, my God, Andre Johnson is going to come in here, and we need Andre Johnson and Julio Jones. And Josh Gordon is on the practice squad. Chris, I watched the tape. He can't run anymore. It's just he doesn't have the legs anymore. And yet every day Vrabel gets asked a question about Josh Gordon. He got asked a question today about Josh Gordon. Tannehill got asked about Josh Gordon. Got asked about Josh Gordon yesterday. Chris, does Josh Gordon have anything left in the tool bag?
If you can't run in this league, you can't play. I know he's a big body. I know he made some big catches last year. He only made like 5 catches last year. So, I don't know. I mean, if you can't run in this league and we don't have a deep threat, I know Racey McMaster was our deep threat guy, but if you can't run in this league, basically you're just going to make a 5-yard hitch or a slant and, just be a guy. We don't need another guy. We need a guy to take the top off the defense. And in my opinion, I say this in a respectful way, I just don't think he's that guy.
There you go, Chris Sanders, former Titans receiver, joining us on the program. Chris, I will see you 9:30 on Sunday for the pregame show as we kick off week number 1.
All right, guys.
See you, Chris. Chris Sanders joining us on the program, as always. I love Chris. Did he make up a player on the Titans?
Who did he say?
Like he was talking about the defensive line, and he said somebody named Odoyo or something?
Does he mean Oladani?
Do you think that's what he meant, Ian?
I do, yes.
Did you catch that?
I did, yes.
This is the second day in a row that I've heard somebody that has just added a player to the Titans pass rushing group that's not there. I heard Dave McGinnis yesterday talk about Ojulari, and I'm thinking, I think he plays on the other team. So
he's just not playing here.
So
it's like you talking to teammates, like, whoever from Georgia's defensive line.
I just made up players.
I looked at you like, that's not a person.
I was just making up names. I was like, Derek, how can you say that about Georgia? They haven't. I started making up names. And Derek was like, yeah, I know, but they got.
He was a dog last year. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, yeah, he's a good player, but that's the second day in a row I've heard somebody that has added in somebody that I've never heard of onto the Titans.
I think he means Ola.
Okay, I can roll with that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Mike Vrabel gave what I believe is the greatest compliment a Belichick coach or Belichick anything, which Vrabel's, I guess, not really a Belichick coach, but he's a something. A Belichick guy can give Ryan Tannehill. But has Vrabel given Tannehill enough to succeed? We'll get to that next. Right here on the program. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. I love the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The start of the NFL season is here. The best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
You watch the game.
39, pocket crumbling, down he goes. Hit on the play by Landry.
We talk the game.
Harold Landry? Boy, you sure should pay him, right?
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with three-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Hey, summer's over, but is that joint pain still there? Well, it's time to do something. Willie Donick here, and I want to tell you about QC Kinetics. You've put it off long enough. It's time to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, your back, your shoulder, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Regenerative medicine uses highly concentrated healing properties from your own body, and it restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Plus, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough natural approach to eliminating joint pain. Lots of people here have done this, and they're living life to the fullest pain-free. So don't assume that the old ways of dealing with joint pain are the only ways. Stop putting it off. Call for a free consultation. 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics. Once again, 615-249-4024.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at HarmanEnergy.com.
I'm Tamron Hall. Why give your family just ordinary eggs when they can enjoy the best? Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition compared to ordinary eggs. With 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, 25% less saturated fat, and 38% more lutein. Because the way we care is anything but ordinary. Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company, Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Live in the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So every now and then, Mike Vrabel says something that I hear it, and I'm like, oh.
Something very Belichickian?
Well, every night you got to know where it's coming from. You got to speak a little Vrabelese here. Mm-hmm. So, again, Mike Vrabel is not a Bill Belichick coaching tree coach because he never actually coached for Bill Belichick. But we all know the connection between Belichick and Vrabel, and it is obvious sometimes how no matter what Vrabel does, I would love to know what Vrabel's relationship with Belichick was like as player and coach. I would love to know, and I don't mean like what it would be like from the outside, right? Like, I don't want to hear what Teddy Bruschi tells me his interpretation of Vrabel's relationship with Belichick was. I want to know what Vrabel's relationship with Belichick was like to Vrabel.
I feel like he probably hated him, but that's just my thought and interpretation of it.
I think he looked up to him.
Really?
But that he doesn't think that he looked up to him. Remember how we were talking about people's dads screw him up?
Uh-huh.
And you were talking about somebody you went to college with.
Yeah.
Who like
doesn't have a good relationship with their dad.
And is always like kind of trying to impress her dad, or is always trying to like fill that void.
That sticks with you for a long time.
I do wonder if Vrabel has some of that with Belichick.
And I do wonder, Vrabel as a coach, I almost feel like he doesn't want to become Belichick, but it's almost like he can't help it.
Yes.
It's like, when you say, I'm becoming my mom. I'm becoming everything that I never thought I wanted to be in my mom. But it's because you looked up to that person and you want to become that person, even if you don't know it or want it.
I 100% agree, which leads me to what he said about Ryan Tannehill today. I'm going to read from you a passage from the Seth Wickersham book, It's Better to Be Feared. Quote, Belichick had once taken me through how he evaluated college quarterbacks. All of the tests were mostly mental and not physical. The coaches would inundate the prospect with football information from terminology to play design. An hour after the quarterbacks left the building, a New England coach would call him and quiz him, testing his recall. It's very subjective, Belichick said, and he eventually whittled it down to two factors, decision-making and accuracy. That's what Bill Belichick cares about with a quarterback. So when we sit there and watch Malik Willis throw a rocket shot down the field, Belichick doesn't care about that. Belichick never has. And we know John grew up as a New England Patriot.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a college assistant coach. They made him a scout. I mean, he was out there looking for quarterbacks, decision-making, and accuracy.
Which makes sense with Mac Jones.
Which is exactly
makes sense
why.
With Tom Brady.
It's why they want decision-making. Vince Young might be one of the most pure, talented, God-gifted quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. Bad decision-making, bad accuracy. And so, decision-making and accuracy. Vrabel was asked today about Ryan Tannehill at training camp. Here's what Vrabel said.
Mike, you've been complimentary of the camp Ryan has had to this point. What have you liked about what you've seen out of him?
I think he's been accurate. I think he's been decisive. I think he's had command of what we're trying to do. I think his leadership has been really good.
Is that a change?
Stop it there. Decision-making, accuracy. The two things that matter. Now, one thing that I picked up on, too, that Belichick does a lot of, it's very, Belichick has a lot of go-tos. It's funny, Derek Jeter's documentary, he took through some of the go-tos, and one of his go-tos is the same as one of Belichick's, which is if you ask Jeter about something somebody else said or did, Jeter will say, oh, yeah, you have to talk to him about that.
Oh, Vrabel does that all the time.
Again, so one thing
players do it, too. You have to talk to Vrabel about that.
One thing that they always say in New England is if somebody asks about, last year you guys played the Giants and Belichick just does this. He waits, just kind of crickets it for a second. Every year's different. So,
it's such a frustrating answer.
Doesn't matter what last year or this year. Every year's different. That's just how he is. So then Vrabel was asked a follow-up where he gave, again, the most Bill Belichickian compliment to his starting quarterback. He was then asked a follow-up by Gentry. Says, here you go.
Is that a change from the past in any way? Has he amped up anything?
Well, we're just focused on this year, Gentry, and how we did this camp and what we're going to do today and what we're going to do this season.
Every year's different. Doesn't want to go to it. Mike Vrabel gave Ryan Tannehill the best compliment that I think a Bill Belichick connected coach could give his quarterback. And I saw some of those things. You heard Chris Sanders talking about how he's seen some of those things. Everything's, and I get it. My question is, are the Titans putting Tannehill in a position to succeed this year? Because yesterday we asked Trevor, is there any chance they could lose to the Giants? Trevor said yes. What was his one condition?
Right tackle.
The right tackle. I asked Chris, I said, do you think this is a better team than they were last year? He couldn't go there. Why? Because he couldn't go there with the offensive line. We've already talked at length about replacing A.J. Brown and how they thought they were going to do that with Treylon Burks. And it is obvious to me right now that Treylon Burks is not ready to replace A.J. Brown. So Vrabel is all about his quarterback right now. Again, giving him the best compliment that he can give him. I don't even think Tannehill realizes how complimentary what Vrabel said about him means in Vrabel's world. Because I know that 10 years ago when Ryan Tannehill was a rookie, he didn't even know what division the New York Giants were in. So I'm sure that he hasn't read up books on Belichick and Brady to know that what Mike Vrabel said about him today is the nicest thing that a New England Patriot guy can say about a quarterback. But none of it matters if they can't block for him and he gets crushed, or none of it matters if none of his receivers can get open, because the way football works is ultimately everybody is going to blame the quarterback. He is the president of the United States. I can't tell you how many things probably happen that are outside of a president's control. It's why even when we've had really, really bad presidents, things have been really good sometimes in America. And when we've had some awful, 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 awful luck, that's happened with good presidents. Like, it just something, the president always gets blamed.
No matter what happens during their tenure, they're going to get
sometimes
for it,
they
or
always
get credit for it.
And it's the same way with the quarterback. And so right now, Vrabel is all aboard the Tannehill Express. But is Vrabel and company setting up Tannehill to have success?
Well, I guess my question to you would be, do you think that they set him up for success last year? Because I think you could make the same arguments.
No, absolutely
the
not.
The offensive line was not good. They couldn't protect Ryan Tannehill last year. And outside of A.J. Brown, who was your number two? A Julio Jones, who could never get out on the field? He didn't have a tight end. Julio.
But, like, who was their real number two last year?
Westbrook Akine?
I think he's probably Chester Rogers.
Maybe.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. So, and they didn't have a tight end last year, so at least they addressed that this year. So, I mean, I would argue that they did not set Tannehill up to succeed last year. And you could look at it and say, well, the Titans got the number one seed in the AFC, so, obviously they did succeed. But if you just look at Tannehill alone, would you say that was a success?
What, his season last year?
Yeah.
No!
Which is a little bit concerning. But I go back to, they were still the number one seed in the AFC.
Do you blame them for that?
The Titans?
Like, did you blame them last season for Tannehill's regression?
Yes.
See, I blame Tannehill for Tannehill's regression. Now, they didn't help. But this year?
The lack of pass catchers, no tight end.
It was bad.
And the protection.
But this year? I thought the protection last year was fine.
He got sacked 7 times by the Jets.
Yeah, but that's because he had no receivers. He's holding on to the ball.
And that's another thing.
Ball's got to come out.
But that also falls on the Titans' shoulders for not giving him pass.
Oh, yeah, but that's because all of his pass catchers got hurt. That's not Robinson's fault that A.J. and, the Julio thing was their fault because they should have known better. But that Jets game, Tannehill stunk it up. I mean, and then at the end, he drove him down, and he stopped holding on to the ball for 10 seconds. So that one, every sack isn't just the offensive line's fault. Now, the offensive line wasn't great in that game, but it's not just the offensive line's fault. Just like Dylan Radin sucked up the joint against the 49ers, but he didn't give up any sacks, so everyone thinks he had a good game. And it's not totally binary like that. I thought Tannehill last year, I thought he played scared. I thought Tannehill played without confidence. I thought Tannehill made bad decisions. I thought Tannehill was not accurate with the football, throwing it behind guys, having balls popped in the air. I don't think Tannehill was very good last year. And, again, I didn't think the line was that bad. And they let the Pro Bowl guard go, and now I'm worried to all get out about the right tackle. Right now, I think Tannehill did his part. Like, for everything in the offseason after the Cincinnati game, I think Tannehill has done his part. I don't know that this team around him is set up for him to have success. Let's take your phones on it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Again, what Vrabel said today is not throwaway. That is not Vrabel. That is a big-time compliment from Vrabel to Tannehill. Is Vrabel doing his part for Tannehill? 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in, 615-737-1025. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. I love the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The start of the NFL season is here, and the best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is kicking off week 1 with a no-sweat free bet for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a new customer or if you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. I think the Titans are going to win Sunday against the Giants, though I'm not making my official prediction yet, but on the money line, I think you could go that route. Keep it easy with money lines for your favorite team to point spreads to over-unders. Bet on more than just the final score with player and game props. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM to get started. That's promo code JGM. Either way, celebrate the return of football with a no-sweat bet during week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issue is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, September 7th, we're running an unprecedented one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. Even Cambridge has studied our technology. If you're ready to transform your love life, grab your phone. Today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, you'll get a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is our most lucrative offer ever, worth $1,200. But call today, Wednesday, and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
A new fair is hatching in Nashville. Come on out and experience 10 days of dinner shows, barnyard animals, culture arts, sporting events, and 4 nights of Nashfest with themed music. We have something for everyone at the Fairgrounds Nashville from September 9th through the 18th. Buy tickets early online and save at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair. The Nashville Fair. It's a hatchin' good time.
It's grillin' and chillin' season, and Hiller is giving away backyard freebies all September. This month, when you upgrade to a new tankless water heater, we'll give you a free Yeti Tundra cooler, or get a free Traeger grill with any new whole home generator. And we're offering special zero-interest financing for up to 48 months on select new HVAC system replacements. Book online at happyhiller.com today. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
You've talked about the struggles getting over that loss, just playing another game, starting a new season, kind of put all that behind you, maybe officially.
It's been behind me. I think, like I mentioned in the past is the past. It's a fuel. It's a fire, like I said, inside of me. But the past is the past, and I'm ready for this year.
Yeah, I put it past me. It's a fire that burns inside me, but I put it past me. That's not how that works.
Well, which one is it,
Ryan? That's not how that works. I do remember one time the Rams, when they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and the latest time. And so NFL Network, the way that it worked in our studio was that one of those TVs had to be on NFL Network for Floyd at all times, no exceptions. And one time walked in there, and they were about to play the Rams-Titans Super Bowl was on one of the TVs, and he was like, yeah, we got to turn this off. And it's like Chris Sanders said earlier when he said that Super Bowl still bothers him, which, by the way, Chris Sanders was wide open on the last play of the game and maybe if Chris was a little bit more assertive, they would have thrown him the ball and they would have won.
Hey,
and
don't put this on Chris.
So who should we put it on? Les Steckel?
Yeah.
Okay. Coach Steckel. I love Coach Steckel. But I do think that the Cincinnati game is a big deal for Tannehill. Let's go to your phones, though. Again, Vrabel gave Tannehill what I think is the biggest compliment a Bill Belichick guy can give to a quarterback, decisive and accurate with the football in training camp. I just don't know. And I've seen a different Tannehill. And everybody who's seen Tannehill has seen a different Tannehill except Joe. Everybody else. Chris Sanders was on today talking about different Tannehill. He sees it. Dan Graziano wrote it. Jeremy Fowler wrote it. Diana Rossini said it. Charles Davis said it.
Well, of course Diana Rossini said it.
Okay, but all the other people?
Yeah, I know. It's a lot.
I mean, Charles Davis is like Chad Withrow said to me when I tweeted out about Charles Davis saying it. He was like, well, Charles Davis is on the Titans broadcast. Of course he's going to say it. I'm like,
also true.
But Charles Davis didn't have to say it. He just said it because it was there, and he wanted to say it.
And one day when I was filling in for the midday show, we had Amani Hooker on the show, and he even said, he was like, yeah, this is different Tannehill. He's definitely more of a leader this year.
I just don't know if it matters because they don't have good enough players around him like at right tackle or wide receiver.
They didn't have good enough players around him last year.
Yeah, but they had a good enough right tackle around him. The one team that every single person in the world is picking to win the Super Bowl is starting the right tackle of the Titans at right tackle.
But does that make him a Super Bowl caliber right tackle?
Is anybody out there saying that they're not picking the Bills because of the right tackle?
No.
There you go. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Josh is going to kick us off. Thank you for waiting on Tannehill. Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, guys. I get all the criticisms of Tannehill and all that, but if you look at it, from the day he took over, Derrick Henry's career didn't take off until Ryan Tannehill took over.
That's not true.
Mike Vrabel's.
That's not true. Derrick Henry, the last 4 games of the 2018 season, Derrick Henry was the best running back in football.
Yeah,
That's where he became Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had a 155-yard game, a playoff game against Kansas City before Ryan Tannehill was even on the Titans.
Okay, listen. The Titans have been unbelievably better team since the day Ryan Tannehill took over. Now, last year, I was just telling Ian that football is such a symbiotic type of relationship between teammates. So, like for example, Kevin Byard, when he had that down year, everyone said, "Oh, he had a down year because he didn't have as many interceptions." He tweeted out, "I led the team in tackles with 76 tackles." Just saying, sometimes, everyone thinks you have a down year, but you're really just trying to make up for. I guarantee you that Mike Vrabel would not have won Coach of the Year if Ryan Tannehill wouldn't have been holding the offense together with duct tape and mirrors. He was the one lone bright, not even a bright star, but he just kind of held it together, and they knew that the defense was there. So now, hopefully this year, they've got some young talent coming in. And hopefully Henry back. And I think Austin Hooper is going to be a bigger addition than people know. That's a safety blanket. But, football is different than basketball. There are very few quarterbacks or even players in the NFL that can totally take over a team and totally change the makeup. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback. I don't know if
I think we would agree. Josh, I think we would agree with that assessment. Thank you for your call. I think we would agree with that assessment that the whole thing about, Tannehill cannot carry the team by himself to the finish line. And really nobody can. Even Brady, that last year in New England, I remember doing a show on the Wednesday of the Titans-Patriots playoff game. And the 2 o'clock segment was, has Ryan Tannehill actually had a better season than Tom Brady? Is Ryan Tannehill at this point better than Tom Brady?
Can you imagine
every stat that we were going over was a check mark almost in the direction of Tannehill. There was one, maybe touchdown interception ratio, maybe. I don't know, because Tannehill was the most efficient quarterback in 2019. There was one that was in favor of Brady, but most of them were in favor of Tannehill.
Which is wild. But also, you're looking at those as 2 career extremes for each of them. Tannehill good,
that
Brady
offense
bad.
for New England was so bad.
It's so bad.
It was so bad.
Enough for him to get up and leave.
And so I think back to what he said about the symbiotic relationship. I don't think it was a symbiotic relationship between Tannehill and Henry. I think it was a symbiotic relationship between Tannehill and Arthur Smith.
Maybe.
And that is a humongous concern of mine, is that not having Arthur Smith Vrabel would not fire the offensive coordinator. And I think some of that is just how stubborn Vrabel is. But if you really want to, here's my thing on the whole Tim Kelly thing. I think it's different offensive coordinator to defensive coordinator. Because I think Jim Schwartz can come in and he can watch practice. And I don't know if you watch Jim Schwartz when he's at practice, but Jim Schwartz is not coaching. He's like standing off to the side observing. And it wouldn't surprise me if in the meetings and stuff, Jim Schwartz speaks up and says, hey, we should do, or he goes to Shane Bowen and Vrabel and says, hey, they're going to drop the safety. Why don't you blitz the linebacker? Whatever. I think it's much harder to have an impact as an offensive coach when the real thing is it a scheme or is it the play calling? And I think Downing's issue last season was more the individual play calling. Well, whoever has the play sheet and has it over their mouth and double wide Eagle X shoot, that is who is in charge of that. And it's not Tim Kelly. And so Downing's got to step it up now because I do think that the lack of Arthur Smith, one of the old coaches from the previous staff told me, Mariota, and they said, hey, basically, and you know how every coach is. Every coach sits there and gets up at the podium. No excuses for us losing. And then when they lose a game, off the record, here's the excuses for why we lost. Not my fault. And one of the old coaches told me that basically, like, hey, look what we did. We got to the playoffs and we beat the Chiefs with Marcus. And he's a backup. He's a backup. And so they get Tannehill and Arthur and again, Arthur was a part of that coaching staff. So they probably like him more than they like Vrabel and the rest of those guys. But one of the old assistants said, he said, Arthur protected Tannehill. And I heard that. And this was before last season. And so I heard that. And I was like, okay. And then as I saw the season progress, I started to think to myself, did Arthur protect Tannehill? And we'll see. We will see this season if it makes a difference. But to sit there and think that Tim Kelly is going to, just have this monumental effect on it, I think that play caller and quarterback, I think it's such a different relationship. It's like, who cares about all these quarterback coaches of these teams where the quarterback coach is not the play caller? Not a lot.
And even you could go as far as to say, who cares about an offensive coordinator and a team where the head coach calls offensive plays?
Agreed. The one thing that I will say is that I did read there was a behind the scenes, about the breakup between Jared Goff and the Rams. Uh-huh. And what they said was that when Sean McVay got there, that Matt LaFleur was like a buffer between McVay and Goff. And then Matt LaFleur left, and Zach Taylor came in, and Zach Taylor was like the buffer between McVay and Goff. And then Zach Taylor left, and there was nobody, and it was McVay and Goff, and that, they really got into it with each other. That's what I read. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I'm going to assume, too, that egos probably got into it a little bit.
Kind of sounds right.
That McVay now all of a sudden, he's Johnny greatest coach ever. And so, it's not me who's screwing up. Everybody tells me that I'm this great offensive coach. It's you. And Jared Goff's like, wait a minute, I just threw for 8,000 yards. So you're going to tell me that I'm the problem when your play call is the reason why we threw this interception. And so my guess is that I'm sure the lack of a buffer hurt. But it probably didn't hurt as much as now these dudes had egos because they both, the Goff got paid. McVay's, everybody wants to be McVay.
They went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
all eyes were on the Rams.
Right, and then Goff didn't play well in that Super Bowl. And so I'm sure McVay probably blames Goff like, oh, you screwed me up. And that's probably what led to it. But I digress. 615-737-1025. We'll get back into your phones. Plus, Joe Rexrode off the top rope. I got to give Joe some credit with this question that he asked Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill's response. We'll get to that next here on Stillman and Company. Caroline, please tell us about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
It is time again for the Caesars Sportsbook report. Now, first things first, your first bet with Caesars Sportsbook, it's on Caesars, up to $1,250. So download the app and use the promo code RADIOFULL. One word, RADIOFULL, and then place your first bet. And if you win, congratulations. But if not, don't worry. You'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, if you need something to place that first bet on, look at the odds boost going on at Caesars tonight. Hoskins, Arenado, Machado, each to hit a home run tonight at plus 6,000 odds. So I mean, pretty good odds, so you may as well just throw a few bucks on it. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Hey, Preds fans.
Running across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Ever tried to shop for a diamond online? They all look great on the computer screen, but the fact is, most reputable jewelers like Genesis Diamonds wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
These are the diamonds that nobody wants to buy. We call them the B-quality diamonds.
That's Genesis owner Boaz Ramon, who says that even diamonds with the same gradient when you see them up close in person, especially the ones from online dealers.
Those diamonds gonna look always cloudy or dirty. It's like you're wearing your glasses and there is fingerprints all over the glass. You just don't understand, or nobody told you that the material that this diamond was cut from was not the best material.
Why risk it? At Genesis Diamonds, they screen thousands of diamonds and only choose the best of the best for maximum brilliance, sparkle, and luster. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
I'm Boaz Ramon, and my accent is always on value.
Golfers, tee it up this fall at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for big savings. Save up to $150 off on Ping G425 Woods. Upgrade your gear with discounted Wilson stand and cart golf bags. And stock up on TaylorMade Distance Plus golf balls. Now 2 dozen for $35. Don't miss these items and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
College football season is here. Finally, it's me, Caroline Fenton, and you already know that I am pumped up for college football season. And Southeastern Carolines, you know that 312 Pizza Company is my favorite place in town. 312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Music City. You can catch every down of the college football season at 312 Pizza Company. From week 1 of the national championship, 312 Pizza Company is your home for college football season.
I did a site visit, and the space is absolutely incredible.
Este's Reiki Clinic is opening another studio across town.
But there's a lot to wrap up.
But staffing an entire office requires more than just deep breathing.
And at least 4 new practitioners.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Robbie and Rex Road here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have 2 choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Do you think this season sets the course for the rest of your career, Ryan?
I don't know. I attack each and every season. Like it could be your last. You never know what's going to happen, and whether it's physically, or something else. That's kind of just how I live my life, right? Whether it's, time with family or time with friends, or in this situation, football, is you never know what's going to happen in life. So you got to attack each and every day with a purpose, with an intention, being where your feet are and trying to take advantage of each and every opportunity you get.
Man, who was doing the laughing there in the background?
There's a lot of giggles from Sir Giggle himself, Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, but everybody else. Ian, can we get that cut back again?
Do you think this season sets the course for the rest of your career, Ryan?
I don't know.
Who's doing all the laughing?
What's so funny?
Like, that's a really good question from Joe. Like, that is a really serious question. That is a really good question. Like, what is funny about that?
Tannehill probably reacted like, whoa, like intense question.
Like, you can tell
people
that
were laughing at his
made,
reaction.
So you think that it was Tannehill's uncomfort. You think it was Tannehill's lack of comfort there that then people reacted to?
Yeah, because when you hear it, it's kind of delayed. Like, Ryan Tannehill processed the question, react to.
That's a really big question from Joe.
It's a great question.
I mean, here's the truth. Here's what I think.
And also kind of a BS answer from Tannehill.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot over the last couple of days about, live in the moment, be where your feet are, things like that.
Take advantage of every opportunity you're given.
That's really easy to say and really hard to do in life. I would say this. Because, let's just talk about, living in the moment right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then what are we doing?
What do you mean?
We're just talking on the radio.
Yeah, that's our job.
What are we talking about?
Tannehill.
Well, we're talking about either things that did happen or things that are going to happen.
Yeah, well, we can't really talk about anything that's going on right now in the moment.
So then how do we live in the moment?
This might be above my pay grade.
You see what I'm saying? So what do we...
Well, I think Tannehill's job is to live in the moment. Our jobs as radio hosts is to very much so live in the past and the future.
Isn't that what every conversation is? Every conversation is about something that either did happen or it's a conversation about what is going to happen.
Well, when you're a quarterback...
Think about it. Have you ever had a meeting?
And you are reading defenses
have
and
you
trying
ever
to figure
had
out
a
who you're
meeting?
going to throw the ball to, you have to live in the moment.
No, when you're a quarterback, you're trying to figure out who to throw the ball to. You have meetings to sit there and talk about who you should throw the ball to. When you play that game.
In that moment, when Ryan Tannehill is under center and he drops back and is trying to find who to throw to, that's living in the moment. You have no other option. He's not thinking about the next play, because if you're thinking about the next play, then his butt's probably on the ground.
Okay, so it's 3rd and 13.
Okay.
And there's a minute left, and they're driving to score to tie the game, and it's 3rd and 13, right?
Yes.
And so he drops back to throw.
Uh-huh.
He needs to be thinking about 4th down because in this case it's 2 downs to get 1 first down. So, the 3rd down play is dictated by what they could do on 4th down. Whereas if it's earlier in the game, the 3rd down play is different based upon what they're not going to do on 4th down.
This feels like a very non-productive conversation.
Like a very paradoxical discussion.
Yes.
And yet, I would be honest with you that this has literally been the last 2 weeks of my life, just thinking
living in the moment,
appreciating the moment, not being able to do it.
Also, does anybody really live in the moment?
No,
of course not.
That's where
that's where you have to say, okay, let's take this moment and savor it. You have to remind yourself to not think about, okay, what am I doing tonight?
You remind yourself.
You have to think, okay, what am I doing?
No. I think.
No, I'm just speaking for everyone.
Well, speak for yourself.
I'm thinking about what I'm doing later, what we're going to talk about in the show tomorrow, or all the things that I have to do. Everyone does that.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
And if I don't think about it, then it might not get done.
I don't have a problem with the answer. But the question...
Well, it's just a typical Tannehill answer.
Well, yeah, but he's not going to say yes, but the answer, of course, is yes.
Of course it's yes.
It's yes. This season defines his career. This is it. He'll either be a quarterback that was good but wasn't good enough, or he will be a guy who breaks through. And I swear to you,
his future also.
Of course. If they win the Super Bowl this year, Malik Willis will not be the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans next season.
They're not going to win the Super Bowl.
But if they do, then, and I will say this, not to not live in the moment and think about the future and everything else. If they win the Super Bowl, that freaking guy can put a microphone in front of his face and say, F you, Jared Stillman. When it's like Terry Bradshaw. I think Fox does have the game. Terry Bradshaw. I'll tell you, Ryan, that was a great game out there. You're Super Bowl MVP. This is a really great opportunity. I really want to thank God, my friends, my wife, Lauren, my kids, everybody who's there for me, and screw you, Jared Stillman, for everything you said about me after the Bengals game and everything. Woo!
And also, I'm going to Disney World.
Woo! All right, back to you guys up there. Terry Bradshaw. Let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025. What do we have?
I'm
going to answer everything the rest in the Terry Bradshaw voice the rest of the show. I actually watched The Football Life with Terry Bradshaw. Speaking about living in the moment, I watched The Football Life with Terry Bradshaw last week. Literally my favorite moment. They come back from commercial, And hold on, let me pull this up because I literally texted it to somebody, and I want to get like the whole thing right. Where
Terry Bradshaw is a madman.
Oh, Terry Bradshaw. So the narrator's like, after the pain of 3 divorces, Terry married Tammy in 2014. And then it's got Bradshaw, and he's like, I think she made me realize what marriage was all about.
So it took 3
I'm
tries.
like, it took you 3 chances, Terry. What do we have?
Josh texts in and says, that's not a good question. He's 36. Of course, every year sets the tone of the rest of his career. It's a stupid question. Josh.
Why is it a stupid question?
Josh on a Joe Rex road.
This year is different. Year 2, Tannehill was the first-round choice of the Dolphins. He had already proven he was capable of starting in the NFL as a rookie. Year 2 was not a defining year for Ryan Tannehill in Miami.
And also, is anybody asking Tom Brady that question?
No.
He's 10 years older.
No. Nothing Tom Brady does this year matters. As far as, like, the legacy of Tom Brady.
Brady's won his Super Bowls. Brady stuck it to Belichick when he won that Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. He's proven himself. His legacy is already written. If he wins another Super Bowl, then great.
Giselle
Add it on to the other 7.
Giselle said to him on the field after the game, what do you have left to prove?
It's a fair question.
By the way, did you listen to Brady on the Let's Go podcast?
I did not.
So Brady was asked about his 11-day absence by Jim
I've heard
Gray.
it's not going too hot with Giselle.
So that's what the New York Post was reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Brady was asked about his 11-day absence. First of all, he started choking up a couple times when answering the question. And he talked about like his life and his family, and he talked about his first son, and he talked about his second son, and he talked about his daughter, and he talked about his parents, and that was it.
But didn't say anything about the 11-day absence?
No. Not that he didn't say anything
not
about
Giselle.
There you go. That's not my business. But, Tommy, we're with you.
Stay strong, brother.
What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, living in the moment is not just some out there concept. He's just saying that he isn't going over the past or worrying about the future, just staying present.
He obviously is thinking about the past.
But I worry about this with Tannehill, about living in the, thinking about the past and thinking about this Cincinnati game most notably. I think there are some athletes out there, Tom Brady being one of them, Michael Jordan being one of them, Kobe Bryant being another one.
They can take adversity and turn it into legitimate.
And they get fueled by the past.
And other guys get crushed by it.
And I think Tannehill might be one of those guys that gets crushed by it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's, it's like I was talking to a doctor one time. Like, I have a lot of anxiety, right? I have a lot of anxiety. And yet, over the past of my life, my anxiety has really fueled me to do a lot of things. It's like I'm a very punctual person. Ian, we've been doing the show now together for 7 years. I think that's right. I think this would be we had 2 malarkey seasons. This is Vrabel's 5th season, 7 years. We've been doing this program. Have I ever been late to anything?
I mean, not really. No, I don't think so.
So my anxiety makes me super early for everything. I am punctual. I will start sweating if I feel like I'm going to be late to something. I just cannot do it. And one time Floyd said to me, I think Les Steckel told him this, but it was like, if I'm early, then I'm wasting my time. If I'm late, I'm wasting your time, and I'd rather waste your time than waste my time. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense, but I just can't do it. And so, my entire life,
I just don't know if I agree,
has been driven by my anxiety. I think there's a lot of people whose lives have been crushed by their anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And so I certainly think, to your point, it's definitely a double-edged sword here of, will the pain of the Bengals game to Tannehill, will that be the motivation for him to go out there and have a great season? Or will he throw 2 interceptions on Sunday and turtle in, and then that basically be it for his career? Because while I don't expect Malik Willis to play this year, and I really hope he doesn't because I don't think he's ready and I don't think he's going to be ready, but the only way that Malik starts, other than an injury to Tannehill, would be if Tannehill just absolutely is so bad that they don't have another choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a horrible season for the Titans, and that would mean that Malik would have to go in there before he's ready, and that would mean that Tannehill's pretty much done. And at that point, having made over $200 million in his career, you think Ryan Tannehill's going to stick around in the NFL? I don't think so. So I think even more so than anything, I think this is a career-defining season for him. And I think it was a great question by Joe. And I think that the texters need to chill. We'll get back to your phone. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, right here, 1025, 106 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Craig Bobis. Today, humid and temperatures in the middle 80s. Once again, just like your Tuesday, the morning brings us the chance for a few areas of patchy fog. That fog will lift and give us the chance for a few isolated rain showers late morning into early afternoon.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
We're Saia LTL Freight. For nearly a century, our team has been committed to driving business forward. From Lady Liberty to the Golden Gate, Superstore to Corner Store. We go that extra mile, expanding our team to better serve you. So trust that when you partner with Saia, we take every delivery personally. Visit Saia.com for all your shipping needs. That's SAIA.com.
It's time for another Kubota field event hosted by Coleman Tractor of Nashville. Our biggest sales event of the year takes place on Thursday, September 15th at the Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot. Don't miss this perfect opportunity to demo tractors, zero-turn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers. Receive a coupon for up to $250. Plus, enter to win an Orca cooler. Try it and buy it at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot for Coleman Tractor of Nashville Kubota field event, Thursday, September 15th. The event kicks off at 7:30 a.m.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come, join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and the start of the NFL season is finally here, and the best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is kicking off week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a new customer or already have an account, you'll get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. I really like the Titans and their week 1 matchup against the Giants, -5.5. Give me the Titans all day long on that. But you take it any way you want to take it. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, just sign up with promo code ROB to get started. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Either way, you can celebrate the return of football season with a no-sweat bet during week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, or build out a same-game parlay as well for a chance to win a bigger payout with a small bet. Whatever you do, make sure you do it on FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. A max refund of $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Chase McCabe.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
I think he will be on the QB carousel because I think much like Jay said, they're going to win the division. I think Indianapolis wins the division. Tennessee doesn't look like the Tennessee of the last several years, and they move on from him because of salary cap numbers, and they also drafted Malik Willis that they feel like could be the heir apparent to Ryan Tannehill.
Key, I'm with you on this one, the salary cap numbers for Ryan Tannehill. And at the end of the day, when you look at Ryan Tannehill, I think he's a serviceable quarterback He's not a quarterback that gets you over the hump with the talent that they have, especially when you think about Derrick Henry, not wasting the years you have with an elite running back like that. Ryan Tannehill is serviceable, but he's not that quarterback that gets you to the next level.
He'll be on the carousel because if you're Ryan Tannehill's choke. You have to at least stay on your normal level, if not elevate it. Dude choked. Like, there's no other way to say it. He wasn't good. And so he has one more shot, and he's got to be lights out in the playoffs. If he doesn't do that, he's gone. And my prediction is, I hate to say it, but he won't, and he'll be gone.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on their ESPN radio show. So what happens when they say things like that is those get sent to us. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, be sure to tell people that they said this on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. I don't think they actually talked about that on the radio show. I think they just sat in a studio and they were like, hey, let's pump out one of these cuts for all those NFL cities so that they have something that they can say and then say, hey, they said it on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I don't listen to that show.
I don't either.
So I wouldn't know.
I don't either. But I cannot believe that they had a segment where they sat around the table and randomly talked about Tannehill last month.
Well, they could have had a conversation about which quarterbacks will be on the carousel next year. Maybe like having a Jimmy G conversation of his landing spot, who might need a new landing spot next year. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if they were like, hey, after the studio, we're going to talk for 1 minute about each of the 4 AFC West teams. And then they send those cuts to Los Angeles and Kansas City.
Well, why wouldn't they just
Vegas
do that on the show then? That seems like a lot of extra work.
Because that's a lot of LeBron James that they wouldn't be talking if they were talking about that. But anyway, there you go.
They do love them some LeBron James and some Cowboys.
Them talking about Tannehill. What do we have in our phone lines?
One texter texts in and says, the stupid question that Joe did ask was the one about, did he think that the right tackle
You
position
people are freaking soft, by the way. They're mad at Joe's question.
Yeah, we have 2 separate texters thinking that Joe's questions were bad. But this texter says that Joe asked a question to Tannehill about the right tackle position being in good shape or secure. The texter says, what did he think Tannehill was going to say? The right tackle sucks? Of course not.
I got to tell you something. We've evolved as a society where it used to be, and I think Kaharski wrote about this one time, where back in the day, not every press conference was aired on television or was, streamed or whatever. And so what it was writers would just ask whatever they wanted to ask, however they wanted to ask it. And then they would just, those would go off into, quotes in print. And that was what they did. And then like everything, it became more commercialized, more, out there. And so now, everybody has opinions on press conferences. It's amazing to me. I went on the morning show in Louisville, like I always do, and Louisville got smoked by Syracuse 31-7. And they said
Playing
that
the world's tiniest violin for you.
So the fans apparently were mad at the media for not asking harder questions. And they were like, what do you think of that? And I'm like, well, first of all, I haven't seen the press conference. And secondly, what is a coach whose team just lost 31-7 to Syracuse? What is he going to say that's going to make the fans any happy in these press conferences anyway?
Yeah, I feel like they're diverting their frustration to the question askers and not the coach himself. But also, I hate this idea of, well, what do you expect them to say?
Ask them.
It's not my job for them to answer the question for them.
You know what's amazing about assuming people's feelings is that 99.9% of the time, when I have assumed somebody's feelings, I'm wrong. Yeah. So the only way to know is to ask. And how many times has Vrabel been asked a question that we thought he was just going to shoot it down, and then Vrabel says something that's like, damn. Probably once every other press conference.
And how many times, maybe not necessarily from Vrabel, but just in general, does a coach or a player try to answer with coach speak, and then there's something in there that's, whoa. What was that?
Oh, yeah.
That was important. Let's talk about that.
When SiriusXM came to town and they did the training camp tour and they asked Robinson a question about the wide receivers before he listed off all the names of the guys that were playing it, he was like, yeah, it felt like there for a minute that the sky was falling, but obviously it's not that. I was like, oh, John just told us how he feels. That's the whole point of this. I mean, I thought Joe asked 2 good questions I care about the right tackle. I want to know what Tannehill has to say about it. Even if Tannehill has to say something I don't believe that he's telling the truth, all you can do is ask the guy the question. The second thing is the career-defining season. Like, it is. And it's a fair question. All we did for months and months and months was talk about Tannehill and replacing Tannehill. And then they drafted a guy, and is he going to replace Tannehill? And you know the second that guy gets into a game, the clock is on, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, what about Malik? And is he going to do this? And is he? That's all it is.
And we're all thinking it. We've talked about it, so you may as well ask the guy about it.
I feel, that's the thing. People will act like being on the radio is like talking behind somebody's back, and that is kind of true, except for the fact that the radio is public. So it really is more like talking when they're in the room, but they can listen if they want to listen, but it's not like I'm going out of my way to talk bad about somebody.
Right.
I feel
Except when
bad.
we're critiquing the offensive line when the offensive line is literally right in front of us.
Yeah, and then we kept doing it.
Yeah.
I truly, the only thing that bothers me is if I feel like I have a question about something or I'm going to criticize somebody for something and I don't ask them about it. And that's the only time that I feel legitimately like my actions were beneath me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think anybody who listens to this show on a consistent basis would say, like, hey, when I'm picking Joe's side over the text line side, that should tell you how strongly I'm on Joe's side with this. What else we got? We got any non-soft texters in the text line?
There are a lot of soft textures in the text line.
Give me the first soft one that pops across your plate.
Alex texts in and says he's a veteran. I think he felt a little insulted.
I mean, dude, like we all saw the Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
And Joe asked a fair question. He didn't say, hey, Ryan, you sucked last year, so do you think that this year is going to define your career? No. I think that'd be a little insulting, but also not entirely not true.
So when they had the first Tannehill press conference, where I asked him about, like why wasn't he there for voluntary workouts, and what's the relationship like between he and Malik when Malik's ultimate goal is to take his job, and that led to the mentor comments or whatever. Like Kaharski asked Nick Westbrook-Akina, like, don't you think it's bad leadership to not be there? And I was like, and that's just like, that's who Paul is. Like, I get it. Like, that's who he is just in real life anyways. But, like, I'm not going to, like, chastise somebody in a press conference like that.
I don't think you should.
Like old buddy at LSU.
Hey.
That was giving Brian Kelly the business last night.
I will tolerate zero Leah slander. She's wonderful. It was funny.
I don't have a problem with the question. Or the comment, really.
I thought it was funny. Everyone is taking that so out of context, and
it was just
making
talking
such a big deal out of it. And
they were just talking.
He does
trash.
the same thing,
right? But the problem is that trash talking, and this is what I hate about society, is that it looked like such a burn on Brian Kelly's part, and it was. It looked like such a burn, and everybody got such enjoyment out of it that now it's going to take the fun out of it. When in reality, Brian Kelly should just embrace the fact that life is a lot tougher at LSU, and a lot of people care a lot more about Notre Dame.
Yeah,
which
welcome to Baton
stunning.
Rouge.
It is stunning to me because Notre Dame is like the most popular school in America outside of Ohio State. That game got over 10 million viewers. The only college football games that got over 10 million viewers last year were Auburn, Alabama, which went to overtime, and I believe it was 10.5 million viewers. So Ohio State, Notre Dame did better than that, and Ohio State versus Michigan, where Michigan beat Ohio. Those are the only two games that drew more than 10 million viewers. That game. Six 615-737-1025 is our phone number. I cannot get into the Giants much, but I saw one of these analytic rankings, and I almost threw up. Next, Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
As a roofer, every second counts. Late deliveries and incomplete orders cost me time and money. That's why I partner with Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. With Beacon, I know my supplies will be delivered on time and complete. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
Hey, homeowners and home buyers, listen up. Loan Pronto has 30-year fixed rates with APRs in the 4s and 15-year loans with APRs that start with 3. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Don't be confused by the media's hype about interest rates. At Loan Pronto, their rates have plummeted recently, and they're currently refinancing homeowners who locked in a 5 or 6% rate. So if you've got a rate over 5%, or if your lender has you pre-approved or locked in at anything 5% or equal, Loan Pronto's rates are down whether you are buying, refinancing, getting cash out, or even if you just closed a few weeks ago. Call Loan Pronto today and you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Loan Pronto can help keep more money in your pocket. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company, Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3. The Game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Live in the Hillside Medical Game Studio. So I don't care about analytics or ESPN's FPI simulator or anything like that. You know, it's weird. The FPI, I'll see things that are like, you know, Clemson has a 99% chance to go all the way based on ESPN's FPI, and then I watch one series. I'm like, I don't think this quarterback's very good.
Based off my eyes, no.
I don't think that quarterback's very good. So Bill Barnwell, who has the second best job in all of sports, he just writes these articles based off these ESPN analytics, which I don't know where they come up with them from. But he just sits there and writes them, and then everybody talks about him, and he's the second best job. Peter King has the best job. But he just sits there and writes them, and then people look at him, and then, whatever. He put out every team's path to the Super Bowl, how all 32 teams can win. And they start at 32 with the Chicago Bears, who apparently have a 0.5% chance to win the Super Bowl. How they came up with that, I don't know. More importantly, I'll be honest with you, I don't care. But I figured the Giants, who the Titans are about to play, would be pretty far near the bottom, right?
Probably so.
I mean, they're a horrible franchise.
They're like a notoriously bad team.
They have been bad for a decade.
Yeah.
Like, they are bad. They have run through all these guys who can't coach. They've been looking for a quarterback, and Daniel Jones is clearly not it. They've got the latest guy in there. Who knows if he can coach? They drafted Saquon Barkley ahead of Josh Allen. Just everything that can go wrong has gone wrong for the Giants, and it feels like that will continue. So I figured they'd be like towards the bottom, 29. They're 23.
Okay.
1.6% chance to win the Super Bowl. So then my next thought just was naturally, like, where are the Titans?
Yeah.
22.
No, they're not.
22.
They're one above the Giants.
Now, let me say this about the Giant game, because I want to kind of separate this a little bit. First of all, I'd be offended if they weren't playing the Giants this week. I'd still be offended that the Titans are one spot ahead of the Giants.
Well, yes, absolutely.
But I cannot get excited. I mean, I'm excited for the start of the season. I'm excited for the games and everything else. I cannot get excited about this Giants game. Like, the idea of talking about the New York Giants and week 1 Titans-Giants at 3 o'clock, that game and what it means and how important this is. And, what about the secondary for the Giants? And what about the, offensive line? Can the defensive line? And I just can't do it. Next week, Buffalo, you bet your sweet ass I will be excited about that.
It almost feels like trying to get hyped up like a cupcake week 1, like Auburn Mercer.
Yes!
I can't get excited about that game, and I can't get excited talking about that game because how much can you take away?
Yes!
And I understand that's a dramatic comparison because the Giants
But
and
they
Mercer,
do kind of feel minor league.
It does. It feels like the Titans are starting off week 1 with a South Carolina upstate, and then the next week is Alabama.
Until they start slow and then they're down in the first quarter and then we go into panic mode.
Oh, yeah. We will panic.
I feel like I'll eat my words this time next week.
Because, we've seen this so many times.
But we didn't look at the Arizona Cardinals last year as a bunch of losers. I mean, they are losers, but different kind of losers. Like, we knew that they could win a football game.
I don't think we gave them enough credit.
The Giants are just bad.
The Giants are bad.
And so
the Giants are worse than the Cardinals.
And so for ESPN's analytics, for ESPN's analytics to say that the Giants and the Titans are sitting in the lunchroom at the same table is so offensive. And I don't know exactly why it's offensive. Like, is it offensive because the Titans have the 22nd best odds, according to their analytics, of winning the Super Bowl, even though we started the show today saying that the Titans were not going to win the Super Bowl this year?
No, but it's by comparison. It's
to the Giants, the stinky Giants. And I'll be honest with everybody out there. They're not going to lose to the Giants, I don't think, on Sunday.
Oh, don't say that too loud.
Can they really lose to the Giants?
No. You cannot lose to the Giants, start the season 0-1, and then go to Buffalo on Monday Night Football.
Doesn't it feel like the Giants are tanking this year?
I think they're just bad. Like, do they tank on purpose, or do they just tank because that's just how bad they are?
So they could do certain things to get better that they're not doing.
Like go get another quarterback?
Well, they did go get Tyrod Taylor, but he's hurt. But
also, is going to get Tyrod Taylor really solving your quarterback
problem?
So
they don't have any. They don't have any corners, and they could have signed any undrafted free agent corner that they wanted to come in there, and that undrafted free agent corner would have been competing for a starting job because their DBs were that bad. Mm-hmm. They're that bad on the Giants, and I wonder. Joe Schoen, he comes from the Bills. He's their general manager. He knows that. And they didn't sign a single undrafted free agent corner because maybe they want to be bad.
Well, I mean, look at this quarterback draft class coming up.
They could have done something with Kenny Galladay's contract, which was an albatross the day they signed it. They could have done something with it. They didn't. because they're going to cut him at the end of the year. So Kenny Golladay is going to be out there. But it's like they're not doing things. The Giants as a team are not doing things to get better for this year. So I almost feel like they're kind of tanking. Like they're trying to get rid of Darius Slayton. They're trying to get somebody to pick him up. They're going to start Wan'Dale Robinson over him. And I just don't – the Giants, they suck. Like they suck. And the only hope is that they could have, Saquon Barkley could dominate this game. They tried that 4 years ago. The Titans went into the Meadowlands and it rained, and Saquon had like 40 yards, and Derrick Henry had 170. And so I just don't.
I'm out on.
It's just
Saquon
not.
stuff.
Everybody's out on Saquon, and so are they. So are they. And so this new administration, like they know they're going to stink this year. I think they're embracing it. But for ESPN's analytics, and I mean, I don't even want to get deep into the Giants because we talk about things on this radio show that people care about, and I just don't think that the Titan fans are worried at all about or anything about the Giants. So I can't get myself too excited. I cannot talk Giants. And yet when I see these ESPN analytics, that every team has a chance for the Super Bowl, which is true every year, to put the Giants at 23, that's not the biggest crime in the world. I don't like it. But, it's not the biggest crime. They've got, Carolina and Seattle behind them, and okay, fine. To put the Titans at 22, which means that they're literally in the same zip code. And then they've got the Dolphins at 21 and Washington at 19.
Oh, my God. Where are the Colts?
I didn't look. That's funny. I probably should have looked at that about where the Colts would be. Like, that
probably top 15.
Colts are probably like 7. That is offensive. And
Washington?
It cannot be
Carson
true.
Wentz?
It cannot be true. Let's see where Indy is. 10. It cannot be true. It cannot be true that the Titans' chances of winning the Super Bowl, even though we said they have no chance, it cannot be true that it is there with the Giants.
Also, 23 also sounds kind of high for the Giants.
I know.
I mean, are there 9 teams in the NFL that are worse than the Giants?
They have the Steelers behind them.
What?
They have the Steelers behind them. They have the Lions behind them.
That makes sense.
They have Carolina behind them.
Also makes sense.
They have the Seahawks behind them.
Yeah, checks.
But
Jags.
I could not believe that. When I saw, again, ESPN's analytics give the Tennessee Titans, there's so much. This guy wrote so much. There's so much in here that takes 25 minutes to scroll up. Titans have a 2% chance of winning the Super Bowl. Dolphins have a 2.1% chance. The 49ers have a 2.3% chance. Washington has a 2.5% chance. The Bengals have a 2.8% chance. And then according to this, the Colts.
All of those differences are so negligible.
The Colts
all
have a 3.9% chance.
That they don't have a chance.
I know, but the Colts 3.9, the Titans 2%.
I mean, that's a 2% difference.
Okay, but then the Giants are like right behind the Titans. But
2%
is big in this kind of evaluation. They're saying they don't think the Titans are very good. 615-737-1025. We'll get your reaction on that. 615-737-1025 here on the program. Coming up next, here's the one thing I don't know. We'll do our final predictions tomorrow. This Giants team's terrible. And there's one thing that I just want to go over to see how terrible we think they're going to be. We'll get to that in your phone. Stillman & Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. Hiller has been taking care of my home, and they have been doing it for years, and I absolutely love Hiller. That's right. I love grilling and chilling season, which is what we're doing right now. Hiller is celebrating all month with special deals for our customers. Tackle those necessary home replacements this month to take advantage of those special deals, like a free Yeti Tundra cooler with the purchase of a new tankless water heater, a free Traeger wood pellet grill with the purchase of a new whole home generator, and a free Yeti Tundra cooler with the purchase of a full home septic system. Hiller is also helping make sure your home is ready for colder weather, so take advantage of this limited time financing promotion on HVAC replacements, like 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on select new HVAC systems. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Service is Free guarantee, and I know this because I've been using Hiller for years. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
2, 3, 4, High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, September 7th, we're running an unprecedented one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. Even Cambridge has studied our technology. If you're ready to transform your love life, grab your phone. Today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, you'll get a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is our most lucrative offer ever, worth $1,200. But call today, Wednesday, and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks is a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Psst. Something's hatching at the Nashville Fair. 4 nights, 4 bands, and 4 themes. Come on out to Nashfest 2022, presented by Nashville Soccer Club. Enjoy live music, games, food, and signature drinks. All 4 festivals are free with fair admission. Eat local and drink local, where locals play. Skip the line and buy online at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair.
In today's economy, employers and employees should be working together to create safe, good-paying jobs with no unnecessary government overreach. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Tennesseans, this voting season, vote no on Amendment 1. Visit TennesseeWorkersAlliance.org, paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
Now, local businesses can get closer to every customer in their city with fast, affordable shipping. Introducing USPS Connect Local. You want speed? We deliver same or next day. You want savings? We give you supplies at a flat rate. You want less legwork? We do free pickups. Move your local business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSconnect.com/local. Specific markets. Restrictions apply. Same day or next day delivery expected, but not guaranteed with entry close to final destination.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
When you have a defense, like a coordinator like Martindale, that you never know who's blitzing. They always overload. Like, how much stress does that put on your protection rules and just having to have those?
It's a long protection meeting. It's you can't basically cover everything. You're not sure which package you're going to get each and every week. A lot of credit to the players that they have. The scheme is very good, but being able to bring guys and essentially run the same pressure, but just from different guys doing it and different guys dropping into those zones or the man that they have. So they've done a great job of it, and it's certainly going to be something that we'll have to be prepared for on Sunday.
Wing Martindale, it should be noted that when they went up against the Ravens the last time, Derrick Henry had 40 yards coming off of a 2,000-yard season in the playoffs. So it should be noted of that. But the Giants are so bad. Even though ESPN's analytics say that they're right there with the Titans.
I mean, the Giants are just notoriously bad.
Okay, let's just go over the Giants' schedule. You tell me win or loss right here.
Okay.
Titans.
Loss.
Okay. Carolina at home.
I'll say that's a loss.
Dallas at home.
Loss.
Chicago at home.
Say that's a win.
At Green Bay.
Loss.
Ravens at home.
Loss.
At Seattle.
Maybe that's a win.
Houston at home.
Man, they play just bad teams, don't they? I'll say win.
Okay. Detroit at home.
Loss.
Dallas on the road.
Loss.
Washington at home.
Loss.
Philadelphia at home.
Loss.
At Washington.
Loss.
At Minnesota.
Loss.
Indianapolis at home.
Loss.
At the Eagles.
Loss.
That's 14 losses.
Oh man.
like
there are some games
3
in
and
there,
14.
Like Jags, Houston, like other bad teams that they could beat. But I mean, I don't believe in the Giants.
That's 14 losses. And again, that's not official because we'll do our official ones tomorrow. 14 losses.
I mean, they don't have a quarterback. I don't really know if they have much of anything. The Giants are bad.
They're a bad team. Adoree Jackson
They've
is their
been
number
bad.
one corner. The Titans went out of their way to cut Adoree Jackson last year to save enough money to be able to sign Jack Rabbit Jenkins. And he is their number one corner right now. And the Titans didn't lose on that. The Titans didn't whiff on that. I'm not mad that Adoree Jackson is the number one corner for the Giants. I think that Adoree Jackson is the number one corner of the Giants, which explains why I just don't have a lot of respect for the Giants. Let's go to your phone lines as promised, 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. What do we have?
Robert in Spring Hill texts in and says, you better get excited about this Giants game. This is the type of game the Titans lose. They always show up and play against Buffalo and play against Kansas City, but it's a bad Giants team is who they usually will lose to.
Didn't we say at the start of the season when they dropped the schedule that, oh, man, everybody thinks they're going to be 1-1 after 2 games, but just knowing how the Titans are, it'll be they'll lose to the Giants and they'll beat Buffalo.
Beat the Bills, yeah.
The Titans have no excuse to lose this game. They have no excuse. It's like the Atlanta Braves right now are playing the Oakland A's. Dansby Swanson just hit a home run like in the upper deck there in the A's stadium, and there's terrible, and nobody cares, and everything else. And it's like the Braves and the ball just rolled down the steps because there was nobody up there because nobody sits in those seats.
Mm-hmm.
The Braves have to win these games because they are good, and they're in a pennant race, and the A's are so bad that they know their season was over before it even started. That's how the Titans are. If we're going to talk about the Colts and the Titans, that the Titans have to win because the Giants know they're bad. They know they're bad. You know they're bad. I know they're bad. They all know they're bad. Brian Dable knows they're bad. Daniel Jones knows they're bad. They're bad. Everybody knows they're bad. So when everybody knows they're bad, the Titans have to take care of business, even though it's the first game of the season, and everybody thinks they're on their way to the Super Bowl. What's next?
Michael from Missouri texts in and says, I stopped caring anything about ESPN's football analytic models when I found out that they factor in Vegas odds, which we know can be manipulated by a team's popularity. I'm not as anti-analytics as Jared is, but the worldwide leaders are trash.
So I remember we got into that when during the COVID break from sports.
Mm-hmm.
And
What else are you
ESPN
gonna talk
put
about?
out some kind of ranking or whatever, and they had the Cowboys ahead of the Titans, and such. They talked about using the Vegas win totals,
Yeah.
and I think that is such bullcrap. Like, it's like, let's just take the single most subjective thing, tie it in with some other numbers, and then claim that it's not a subjective number, when in reality it's based in large part off of complete and total subjectivity.
And also, in addition to the Vegas odds, like, I know what they use. We had little Slack channels where the SIG people would just throw in stats, and I know that they use those certain stats to get into these odds, and some things are very valid. But there are some things that are so incredibly niche that I don't really know if they can be factored into probability. Like, you know, on a Thursday when wind is 75% northwest, whatever.
I care about that a lot more than I care about Vegas odds.
I'm saying Vegas odds included, but some of these stats just get so niche into the nitty-gritty that can those things even be used as a predictor?
Well, I don't think Ryan Tannehill plays well in cold weather.
But that's not a very niche stat. That's pretty obvious. He has small hands, and he has a difficult time playing in cold weather. That's a very obvious thing.
Sure,
Playing
like
in a dome.
after he went to Green Bay and stunk, and I was like, yeah, he's got small hands, and Twitter got mad at me. I went back and looked up all the times when he was the quarterback of the Dolphins, and they had to go on the road to Buffalo or New England or whatever late in the year, and he was terrible in all of those games.
I think that's valid.
Right. So the win stuff, that matters to me. But the idea of like
But I'm
Las
saying
Vegas and the
beyond
Dallas
just
Cowboys
that.
are going to win 7 games, like that doesn't do it for me. What's next?
One texter checks in and says the Titans could definitely lose to the Giants. We lost to the Jets last year, and they were absolutely terrible.
Yeah, but the Titans in that Jets game, we saw that coming. Like we said on Monday after they beat the Colts, I said on Monday after they beat the Colts, I was like, if they play like this next Sunday, they will lose to the Jets. And everybody's like, you're so negative, I'm turning it off. And then I picked the Jets to win, and everybody's like, you're so negative, I'm turning it off. I'm done with this. Screw you guys. And then they lost to the Jets.
And also, I think there's something to be said about the first game of the year. Like, you're as close to 100%
What if the Giants are this year's Bengals?
You don't even believe that, do you?
I didn't say that I did. I said, what if?
I'm not even going to entertain that question. Because I'll go back to the Bengals being good. Well, nobody expected it. It makes sense in hindsight. There's nothing that would rationalize the Giants being good. They don't have a good quarterback.
So the one thing that I could rationalize with this, Josh Allen was an average quarterback. The first year, total game manager. They totally babied him. Second year, pretty much a game manager. Brian Daboll becomes offensive coordinator. Josh Allen becomes best quarterback in the world. What if Daboll was the key to the success for Josh Allen? Josh Allen takes a huge step back with Ken Dorsey this year, and Daboll saves Daniel Jones, which, while I don't think this is what he was brought in to do, they did say that was what he was brought in to do.
But I also think a big part of Josh Allen popping off was Stephon Diggs.
Well, yeah, but Brian Daboll was the one who got there and was like, let's make that trade. What if Daboll was that guy?
But who does Daniel Jones have to throw to?
That's the only way. That's the only way is how could the Giants be good when we don't think they're going to be good? I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying Daboll. That would be the only thing. Because we don't know how good of a coach he is or how good of a coach he isn't.
I'm not going that far.
615-737. You're not willing to entertain it that he could be a great coach?
No, I'm not willing to entertain that the Giants could be last year's Bengals. I'm sure he's a great coach.
Somebody's got to be.
I don't think it's going to be the Giants.
More people bet on the Texans than bet on the Bengals last year. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Jason Fitz, ESPN Radio, is scheduled to join us next. We will see if that actually happens. Hey, join Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell this Friday for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz presented by National Playmakers Academy from 6 to midnight. They'll preview the big games and then take you through the night of high school football around the Mid-State. It's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz presented by National Playmakers Academy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Cousins put it in front of the score. Tomasino lofts it in. 2-0 Nashville.
This is a flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Listen to Stillman and Company with me, Caroline Fenton, all season long on ESPN 102.5 The Game for your chance to win Nashville Sounds tickets courtesy of 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
This week in Vanderbilt history, September 11th, 2021. Clark and a comeback in Colorado. After a disappointing opener on West End, the Commodores headed west and scored the first win of Coach Clark Lee's tenure, defeating Colorado State 24-21 on a Joe Bulovas field goal in the final seconds. Vanderbilt had to play from behind early, with CSU scoring the first 14 points of the game in the first half. Taking advantage of a big play on special teams, the Doors got on the board just before the break with a Ken Seals TD pass to Chris Pierce with 47 seconds. And then following a Jalen Mahoney interception, Seals found Cam Johnson to tie the game in the third. And then 4 minutes later, Seals rushed for a TD to go in front for the first time. But Colorado State evened the score with just over 3 minutes to play, setting the stage for the winning drive. And that was capped by the 38-yarder from Bulovas and a celebration on the field and in the locker room. 24, Colorado State 21 in 2021. This week in Vanderbilt history, I'm Kevin Ingram.
Jewelry business, it's in my blood. I've been doing it all my life, and it's my passion.
Meet Daniel Sabalas, a third-generation jeweler at Genesis Diamonds.
This line of work, it's all about honest relationships.
And that's what drew Daniel to Genesis, where it's all about education, transparency, and respect for each customer.
It's based on a family business mentality, and that's how we are. We're here to educate, to guide you, and we make it very easy. So we really go out of our way to educate customers in the right way. There's no stress level, there's no tension. The customer can feel that.
All this while providing the guaranteed best value price.
I've never seen a company that has the best price like this that I've seen anywhere. We are a powerhouse of diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds. No commission salespeople, no pricing games, no risk, no pressure, no cutting corners.
Genesis Diamonds is going to give you the best price, best quality, guaranteed, no matter what.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Labor Day is here, and that means huge savings in every department at Electronic Express. Get up to 40% off the latest 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. That's not all. Save big on laptops, speakers and headphones, smart home, and more. Up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing. The Labor Day sales event is going on now at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hi, this is Trisha Yearwood. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum is committed to preserving our musical history and sharing its cultural significance. We invite you to join us in honoring thy music and supporting our mission by becoming a museum member. Membership is your key to accessing a world-class nonprofit arts organization here, locally, minutes from your home. Become a member today by visiting countrymusichallaffame.org/membership.
Your home for Hit City is 94.9 The Fan.
Your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series against the Charlotte Knights. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win. Pre-game at 5:20.
On your home for Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company, hey, be sure to play Silly Underdog Picks because they are, in fact, back. Silly Underdog Picks. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at theGameNashville.com or the ESPN The Game Nashville app. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Jason Fitz joins us now on the program. Brought to you by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Fitzy, let's start on the Giants. I cannot bring myself to be interested in this Titans game on Sunday because I think the Giants are just that bad. Then Bill Barnwell puts out some analytic article. You know, I think that's all bullcrap anyways, but he puts out some analytic article, and he says in the article, or the rankings or whatever, it's not Bill's rankings, but it says that the Giants have the 23rd best chance of winning the Super Bowl. The Titans have the 22nd best chance to win the Super Bowl. It made me want to throw up that the Titans and Giants would even be considered in the same zip code. Are they, in your opinion?
No, they're not. And this is where you have to be careful with analytics, too, because just because one is near the other in their chances to win the Super Bowl, you got to think about the variables that come there, right? Like, I mean, the NFC is so wildly different than the AFC that, you know, trying to compare the two, I think, is apples to oranges. So, you know, I don't know where Bill gets that metric from, but no, these two teams are in two totally different classes. In fact, I think a realistic expectation from the Giants is that you're on a 3-year plan because Dable has shown you that patiently he can develop. So the Giants are in a stage that, you know, Titans fans may remember from the Marcus Mariota days of just trying to identify if you have your quarterback. That's the only thing they're trying to do this year, and that's the only thing that they're going to try and get an assessment on. So I think it's virtually impossible to ask a lot of the Giants offense. The Titans should absolutely roll in this game. There's an opportunity for them to get a little bit of the preseason rust knocked off and get themselves in good gear. This should not be a football game. The Titans, clearly a much better football team.
Fitz, what is the ceiling for the Titans?
I think that's a really good question because, you know, it's not lost on me that the Titans team last year obviously had tremendous success. I don't put the Titans in the same category as the Bills or the Chargers. There's such a dynamic offensive capability for both of those teams and a lot of stars on defense. But, you know, we live in such a dynamic offense sucker world that I bought into that, you know, it's hard for me to think that the Titans are in that same class. I think, in my mind, the Titans are a playoff caliber football team that if everything breaks right, they win a game or two in the playoffs. If it doesn't all break right, then they finish 8-9 and they're out of the playoffs in my mind. Like they're in the same boat that a lot of the AFC is, where you could butt your way in or out of the playoffs for the team. So I think they're a pretty good football team. I don't think they're a great football team.
Jason Fitz is our guest, presented by Blood Assurance. Titans or Colts right now? Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Titans because I think, honestly, Matt Ryan is getting a lot of love that he doesn't necessarily deserve yet, and I don't think that King Henry is getting as much love as he deserves compared to Jonathan Taylor. Like, I was watching the NFL Network this morning on Good Morning Football when one of the hosts picked Jonathan Taylor to win MVP, and I sort of laughed at it. Like, we're just forgetting how good Derrick Henry is. I've been honest with you from the draft. I think the loss of A.J. Brown is going to be huge for this offense. I really believe the offense takes a step back, but I'm not going to look at the Colts and say suddenly everything works out right for them. I think I'm taking the Titans in a close one, but I'm telling you, I think if you're in the AFC South, you better win the division, because the wild card's going to be absolutely so packed and competitive. I don't think more than one team gets in from the South at all.
Okay, Jason Fitz is with us. Lamar Jackson has a week 1 deadline for a new contract. He wants a Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed contract. The Ravens are looking at him and saying Derek Carr signed since then, Kyler Murray signed since then, Russell Wilson signed since then. Not any of those quarterbacks, not even Aaron Rodgers, has a fully guaranteed contract. Who's right, Lamar or the Ravens?
Lamar. I think Lamar's right because, frankly, a couple of things factor into this. One, Deshaun's in his division, so I'm not going to look over at somebody in my division constantly that's making all this guaranteed money, not hold to that standard. Also, he's in the same age range. And so when you start thinking about career earnings and where you are contractually, like, it's a lot easier for Russ to decide to take less when he's made as much as he's made in his lifetime. Aaron Rodgers the same way. I think you can look at contracts differently depending on age bracket. But the last part of this, Stillman, that I think a lot of people are forgetting is that if you're Lamar Jackson and you never really came from a lot, now you get $23 million this year. And we have in memory that there's ever been a catastrophic injury to a quarterback that prevented him from getting his next deal. So I've got the comfort of Dak Prescott's deal in my mind, knowing that even if I'm Lamar and even if, God forbid, I get hurt this year and it's bad, I'm still going to get franchised next year if there's no deal, which will have a guaranteed tag of around $50 million. So if I know over the next 2 years I'm virtually guaranteed to make $73 million, I'm playing blackjack totally different with that stack. And that's why I think Lamar's actually doing this in a really smart way. By the time he does a contract, Herbert will have signed and Burrow will have signed, and the market's only going to keep going up and up and up. So, while we're all sitting here saying it's funny money, you should take it, he's living this situation and saying, well, $23 million, I never have to work again. My family's going to be fine. $73 million over the next 2 years. I'm set generationally for as far as Ancestry.com can track. You start going into the range that he'll get, he's going to set a record with this contract. I believe that.
Okay, when do you think that contract gets done?
After the season. I think he plays this whole year with no guarantee. The only guarantee he's going to have this year is the money he's getting. And there's no way they're getting this done in the next few days. And if I'm Lamar and I'm, again, looking at the contracts coming down the pipeline, I'm good with that. You tell me I got to keep waiting, that's fine. I'm going to keep waiting, but I'm going to get mine. And the longer you make me wait, the less discount I'm going to take. You're taking a hefty bet that Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow don't decide that they want a ton of money. And if they decide they want a ton of money, the market shifts again in his favor.
Jason Fitz is our guest, presented by Blood Assurance. What do you make of Tom Brady's explanations about his 11-day vacation and all the gossip that's come out about Brady? And what do you think that means for the football season?
Here's the thing. I'm never going to speculate about a man's marital status. I think that's really disrespectful. And that's what the gossip magazine's doing right now. I'll say this. He's 45 years old, whatever's going on, and he says life's complicated. I feel that to my core. I'm 45. I know what that feels like. There's this spot where, sometimes you can compartmentalize all of it and just put it away. And this is never going to be about the 3 or 4 hours on Sunday. You can compartmentalize it, put it away. It's about the rest of the day, the rest of the time, whatever's going on. And someday I'm sure we'll find out. But whatever's going on, my question is, how much impact does it have on a Tuesday or a Wednesday? Even for hyper-focused Tom, there's a reality of if there are family issues, whatever they are, if he's going through something, he's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got real life going on, I don't think there's anybody in the world that can just put that away and say, I'm not going to think about this at all for the next 4 months. So I don't worry about it on Sunday. And I think that's a lot to put on anybody's shoulders, Monday through Saturday. That little difference for somebody that was considering stepping away from the game, I think that can be a real mental grind. I hope for Tom's sake everything's good, but I think that it's okay to also admit that he's allowed to be human. I wouldn't be surprised if this impacts him, if it's something with his family.
Do you think that it matters at all? I was thinking back to this with Brady, which is the last time Brady had a problem in his personal life, it was his mom going through cancer, and nobody knew about it at the time. But Brady finished 11-1 as the starter that season. He threw 2 interceptions, and he pulled off the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Is there any thought that something off the field bothering Tom means that he's actually going to unleash the beast on the field?
I think the difference, without knowing what's going on, but if there's marital issues or family issues like on that side, that's like what, I can only speak to like when I was a little kid. My mom had cancer, and they said that she was terminal. She obviously is still with us. She fought through and she won. But
Awesome.
while you think about that, there's not a lot that you can do about it in the moment. So, I distracted myself as a little kid, even with music. I poured myself into every hour of every day that I could play a violin was an hour I wasn't thinking about family life. So I think that there's something very real about that. That's different, though, than like, hey, things are crumbling, with whatever could be going on in a family situation that's not about health or sickness. Like if it's just a family situation, whatever that might be, man, that's tough because now you're thinking about, your wife and your kids and, what's going to be next for everything. And that's just a lot to put on you, for somebody that prioritizes everything down to the number of minutes he sleeps. Hard to sleep at night sometimes when these things happen. Also, Brady's at a different spot in life now with the amount of variables he has to deal with than he was when his mom was sick. So I just wonder if you can do that again. I mean, again, for his sake, whatever he's going through, I hope it doesn't impact him because I'd love to see Tom Brady, when he decides to be done at the best that he can be. I just think that, I have to apply real life standards to every human being.
Let me just say this, and I know you kind of brought this up. If he's got a marital issue going on, that's none of my freaking business. Like, that is not what he does in the field. That is what he doesn't. That's not my business. What do you make of tomorrow night, the kickoff, the Bills and the Rams? Everybody around the country is picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl. Yet at the same time, the Rams are the defending champions, and Matthew Stafford might have an elbow injury. What do you think about tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think tomorrow night's going to be a good game. But what's interesting to me, and you know how much I love the phrase proof of concept, we got new offensive coordinators. Now, that's not a big deal for the Rams because McVay basically does all of the work, right? But for Ken Dorsey stepping in as the offensive coordinator for the Bills, we really don't know. The Bills have a much better running back room this year than they had last year. So I just keep looking at it and saying, are they going to attempt more balance with the running backs? You have no idea. I think that makes Buffalo a little harder to game plan for the first couple of weeks while we figure out what Dorsey's tendencies are going to be as a play caller. So gives them a slight edge. They're favored by 2.5. I think Buffalo wins, and I think they win by about that. Like, this, for me, feels like they win by a field goal. I think the trickier one on that one is that saw the over-under was like 52.5. I don't know. Like, if the Bills decide they're going to try and run the ball, this could be a little lower scoring than we think, but I think Buffalo can win this game.
Fitzy, last year we saw the Bengals be the team that nobody thought had any chance, and they ended up in the Super Bowl. Who is this year's Bengals?
I mean, it's got to be the Raiders. I'm kidding. No, I think this year's unpredictable, like, oh, my God, I can't believe that happened team has a much better shot of happening in the NFC. I don't buy the Saints hype. I think everybody's way too big on the Saints. But, I'd love to see somebody pop from the NFC. So, like, I know Minnesota's getting a little bit of love, but they have all the talent you can possibly ask for, a new head coach that maybe can get the right things out of the right guys. So a team like that could step up and sort of surprise people. But I just think, Stillman, I think the AFC is so wacky talented, and it's because of the age of these quarterbacks that it's going to be hard for a Cincinnati-type team to break through. Like, the Ravens are predictable. The Bengals are predictable. Every team from the AFC West is predictable. The Bills are predictable. But I just don't see anybody from the AFC being able to bust through and take advantage of that. It's too log-jammed at the top.
So you wouldn't pick a team?
I would say the Vikings.
I'm trying to put you on the spot, Fitz.
Vikings. I'll go the Vikings. That'd be an unexpected. I think the Vikings can break through this year. The NFC doesn't have a great football team. I think the Vikings can represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Okay, there we go. Jason Fitz, presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Appreciate you, Fitz.
Always, brother. I appreciate you, my friend.
Yep, Jason Fitz joining us on the program as always. So we got to go over the latest Zach Kiefer column that came out in the Athletic.
Oh, boy. Goody.
We got to go over this because Joe is convinced that Zach Kiefer's not a homer. But we'll just read the Zach Kiefer column. This is where the Indianapolis hype comes from. We'll do that coming up next. TriStar Moving is my official mover. I don't know anybody who gets excited about moving. I certainly know I don't. It's stressful. It takes a ton of time. It's just a pain in the butt. It's not fun. However, when I found my friends at TriStar, they made my outlook so much better, and that's because they made my move absolutely stress-free. TriStar Moving has an amazing sales staff and great management, and they've got great, highly trained movers. They've recently introduced their new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture to make sure that your move is as safe and smooth as possible. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are local Nashville guys. Look, I know them. They're good dudes. Trust me. It's really a family feeling when you move with TriStar. So if you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615 at nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 10% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219. nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 10% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, my official movers.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
Hey, homeowners and home buyers, listen up. Loan Pronto has 30-year fixed rates with APRs in the 4s and 15-year loans with APRs that start with 3. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Don't be confused by the media's hype about interest rates. At Loan Pronto, their rates have plummeted recently, and they're currently refinancing homeowners who locked in a 5 or 6% rate. So if you've got a rate over 5%, or if your lender has you pre-approved or locked in at anything 5% or higher, you need to call Loan Pronto now. Not all lender rates are created equal. Loan Pronto's rates are down big time, and you need to take advantage. Whether you're buying, refinancing, getting cash out, or even if you just closed a few weeks ago. Call Loan Pronto today, and you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Loan Pronto can help keep more money in your pocket. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just 3 guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. The Titans. Okay. Have you been watching football? Okay. Wow, they added Matt Ryan. I don't know when Matt Ryan became Joe Montana. I respect him and everything, but like, did we lose Derrick Henry? Did we lose Mike Vrabel? I understand and respect Harold Landry's career. I don't think the entire franchise is going to collapse because Harold Landry got injured. Respect what he put in. I hope he heals up and makes plays. These guys are in the playoffs every year, every week. They're always there. Tannehill's boring. You're boring, okay? You think this is the greatest show on turf? All right? I'm sorry. I love you, Frank, and all those guys. I'm going to take the Titans. I'm the only one at the table to pick the Titans to win it.
There you go. That was Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football. The one thing he said that I do completely agree with is the idea of, when did Matt Ryan become Joe Montana? And the answer is when Zach Kiefer started covering him in The Athletic. Zach Kiefer, the biggest Carson Wentz supporter until the day that they moved on from Carson Wentz, writes in The Athletic headline, Matt Ryan, Colts marriage rooted in common goal, winning. Quote, he is that dude. It was mid-May, Zach writes, and Matt Ryan was livid. He was 6 snaps and all through the night now. It was mid-May, and Matt Ryan was livid. He was 6 snaps into one of his first workouts with his new team, starting over for the first time in 14 years. A veteran quarterback towing that delicate line of being too pushy too soon with not wanting to, or in Ryan's mind, not allowing lazy habits to step into spring practices. To hell with it, he decided. Ryan screamed. The field fell silent. Heads turned. Eyes shot up. Feet froze. The man had their attention.
So flowery.
If we're going to play like pros, he continued, then we need to practice like pros. This goes on and on and on and on and on, by the way.
Yeah, this is a long article.
It is a long article. Finally, the QB lost it. Ryan stopped the practice and then led into them. We need to be expletive better than this, he shouted. Back to the first scripted play, Ryan ordered, and he had the entire offense start practice over. This truly reads like he's Coach Carter all of a sudden. It talks about how when the Falcons decided to go after Deshaun, that they'd make him available, and so then they started talking, and they talked to the Colts. Here's my favorite part of this entire article, by the way. After the Falcons decided to chase Deshaun Watson, Ryan decided to pick up the phone. Publicly, he stayed silent through it all, sitting back while his employer of 14 years, the franchise he had lifted after the Michael Vick saga, then carried for a decade and a half, winning an MVP and damn near a Super Bowl. By the way, we know why they lost that Super Bowl, right? Okay.
Matt Ryan.
Okay. Chased his potential successor, a quarterback who had been accused by 24 different women of sexual assault and misconduct. Let me just say, does that one line not read like Matt Ryan wrote it?
Say it again.
After the Falcons decided to chase Deshaun Watson, Ryan decided to pick up the phone, period. No problem there, right?
No.
Publicly, he stayed silent through it all, sitting back while his employer of 14 years, the franchise that he lifted after the Michael Vick saga, then carried for a decade and a half, winning an MVP and damn near a Super Bowl along the way, chased his potential successor.
It does sound very much so like whenever you're venting to your friends after your significant other did something to you, like, after all that I did, all the time I spent, how much I helped you, you did that to me. It's like airing grievances. And I'm sure that's how Matt Ryan feels.
It almost feels like when I used to watch the Maury Povich show, and they would have somebody that's like, before they'd bring the person back on stage, and it'd be like, tell us your story, Nicole. And it'd be like, yeah, he said he was out with his friends. I found out he was with my sister. And the whole was, oh! And like, that's what I read this as. Privately, Zach Kiefer writes, he knew it was time. Well, how's that private if you're writing it? Oh, because he told you. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think his arms are sore from carrying all that water.
What few knew during the first week of free agency, while Atlanta was openly courting Watson, they were quietly shopping Ryan. Now, this is the good part. Kyle Smith, the Falcons' assistant general manager, had reached out to his counterpart in Indianapolis, Ed Dodds, wanting to gauge the Colts' interest in the 36-year-old. Now, let me say this. The way they talk about Matt Ryan, especially in Indianapolis, is like they acquired a Hall of Fame quarterback in his prime who is like Brett Favre, peak Packers, right?
Yeah.
Listen to this. For the majority building, assumed Watson was theirs. Smith was looking for a way to move the franchise's all-time leading passer. The Colts weren't the only team interested, but Atlanta wanted to do right by him. Ryan, they felt, deserved it. Dodds, the assistant general manager in Indianapolis, quote, I'm not saying yes or no right now, Dodds told Smith during that initial call. I need to check him out. I'll call you back in the next day or so. The Falcons let Ryans know that the Colts were thinking on it. So they got Brett Favre, right? But we got to think. We got to think if we want Brett Favre. We right now have no quarterback because Jacoby Brissett left as a free agent too. So we have no quarterback right now. But we need to think about this before we add Tom Brady to our team.
Let me ask you something. If Aaron Rodgers is out there and wants to play for your team, do you think about it?
Well, if I have Derek Carr, I might have to think twice about it because that's what happened with John Gruden in the Vegas when Brady was available, apparently. But the Colts didn't.
You're quarterbackless.
Yes.
And you have Tom Brady,
you do not
Aaron
think
Rodgers.
about it. No, you do not. Apparently, it says in here that Reich and the coaching staff watched every throw that Matt Ryan made over the last 2 years before making their decision.
Yeah.
So then Matt Ryan had, and it's written in here, Matt Ryan had to do his homework. So he called Peyton Manning to talk about Jim Irsay, and he called Phillip Rivers to talk about Frank Reich.
Which I believe.
Sure. Got their blessing. And once he got their blessings, then they had a Zoom meeting, and Matt Ryan knew that he was sold. And honestly, it's such a long article that I didn't get to the end of the article.
It is a very long article.
Here's my last part that I'm going to get into this. Ryan started showing up at the Colts facility for crack of dawn workouts in April, a few weeks after the trade from Atlanta was finalized. Most of his new teammates weren't even in town yet, but the personnel staff was, logging long hours ahead of the draft. Morocco Brown, one of the Colts' top executives, likes to show up early, and one morning he was strolling through the locker room on his way to a meeting when he caught Ryan dripping in sweat, sitting alone at his locker. It was just past 6 a.m. Why such an early start, Brown asked. Man, when you've been doing this for 14 years, Ryan told him, it's just part of your DNA.
I mean, I don't doubt that.
So we're going to have to talk to Joe about this, Jared versus Joe. He claims Zach Kiefer's not a homer. Let's use this one story as an example.
Okay.
The one story about the top assistant, Morocco Brown, who I have never heard of, the top executive in the organization, walking through. But we know he's not the assistant general manager because that's the other guy that had to think before they'd be ready to commit on Matt Ryan. He's walking through the locker room at 6 a.m. He sees Matt Ryan drenched in his sweat in the locker room and was like, wow, you showed up super early and you're drenched in your sweat in your locker. How would any reporter know that?
If somebody said something about it.
It's almost like they said, Zach, come in here with a pencil and a pen. Let's tell you a bunch of stories for you to write, and then you write them unabated.
Also, to be fair, is that unusual behavior or, let's say, unusually exceptional behavior for an NFL quarterback?
To be there early in the morning?
To work out early in the morning.
Well, I mean, Ryan Tannehill had home renovations, so I
That's
can't
true.
tell you,
No,
like,
he had to
what
get his
everybody
floors
else was
redone.
doing,
But I mean, you're an NFL quarterback. You have one of 32 jobs in the world.
If you had asked me when I woke up this morning before I read this story, do I think Matt Ryan works hard in the offseason? The answer would be yes.
Duh.
Like, I do not have a beef with Matt Ryan work. I think Matt Ryan is a very professional quarterback.
But nothing about that is shocking to me or impressive to me because I would probably bet just about every other starting quarterback in this league does that exact same thing.
Robbie Stanley texted me, I have never rooted for a quarterback to suck more. This Matt Ryan stuff is out of control.
But it's not even about Matt Ryan.
It's not about Matt Ryan.
I'm sure Matt Ryan's a great guy.
I think Matt Ryan has had a sneaky great career.
Yeah.
He really has. And I think Matt Ryan, got dealt with a bunch of crap in Atlanta.
And I don't blame him for wanting to leave.
Sure. And I do think the Colts upgraded a quarterback.
Yes.
But, I mean, the way that this article is literally like Matt Ryan is – it's like a Disney movie about Matt Ryan.
It really is.
It's so
– cue the twinkly music and the little birds singing.
It's like all I can think of is that little Disney castle where the shooting star goes, and it's like, I can hear that Disney music in my head as I'm thinking it's like Disney, the Colts.
It's like the Kurt Warner movie, but Matt Ryan.
And better produced.
Yeah. And maybe – actors that look a little bit more like the actual real people.
And the way the people cover this man and the way this team gets covered, it is so pathetic. If somebody wrote this stuff about the Titans, and I will tell you why I don't think people write this stuff about the Titans, because I don't think Vrabel and Robinson care enough to sit TD down and be like, here's a bunch of stuff to put in there. And I don't think TD, for instance, using him as an example, I don't think TD is on the search to go out there and carry anybody's water. So it's not like TD's like going into the facility being like, hey, what good things can I write about you? And I'm not convinced Zach Kiefer's doing that either. I just think that the Colts know they have a target and they can just go to Zach Kiefer and he'll write it. And I don't think TD would just write unadulterated, just positive without including the negative.
And it's really easy to write that stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm intrigued to see how does the coverage change, if at all, if Matt Ryan's not the closest thing to Peyton Manning since Peyton Manning.
It didn't change for Wentz until Irsay decided they were done. And I think that's why I think the Indianapolis media is so incredibly
And it makes sense. Indy wants
homerific.
to continue to pump these narratives about Matt Ryan. They want people to be excited about Matt Ryan. They want people to think that Matt Ryan is the solution. He's what we've been looking for.
We would never read something like that, like from Buck. We would never read something like that and not be critical of it.
Well, we wouldn't.
I know, but that's my point. Is like
fans would love it.
I know, but we're not talking about what the fans would like. We're talking about like what we would say if we saw something like that and it was involving the Titans.
I would say, give me a break. Your quarterback just worked out. Good.
Well, again, that's better than what was happening here at that time. Joe will join us for a little Jared versus Joe. 615-737-1025. Be caller number 5 right now at 615-737-1025. You're going to win a pair of tickets to see ZZ Top and Jeff Beck at First Bank Amphitheater on Thursday, September 29th. Good luck on that. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
The door's on the board. Strike three, sounds win.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We got
pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by Houston Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Tools of the Game brought to you by the Fall Power Sale. This week at Northern Tool and Equipment. Save on pressure washers, generators, log splitters, trailers, wagons, tarps, and more. Northern Tool and Equipment is where you'll find hundreds of deals. In store or online at northerntool.com.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industry. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at HarmanEnergy.com.
Start of the NFL season is finally here, folks. The best place to practice your touchdown dance is on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Joe Rexford here to let you know that FanDuel's kicking off Week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're a new customer or if you already have an account. You're going to get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. Real quick one locally here. You know, if that Titans line against the Giants stays under a touchdown, I think that's an easy one. You can, of course, do that with any game. You can go well beyond that with player and game props, and you can bunch up some bets for the same game parlay. Bigger payouts, small bet. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up for promo code Joe102 to get started. Again, promo code Joe102. Either way, celebrate the return of football season with a no-sweat bet during Week 1. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is now available for free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working, so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're going to feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushers.
Awesome game,
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving 102.5, 106.3. The Game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. It's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Joe Rexrode is with us for a little Jared versus Joe. Joe, can I just ask you a question about The Athletic?
Sure.
Where is our in-depth reporting about what's going on inside the Titans locker room during OTAs and workouts, and the in-depth reporting about what assistant general managers are talking to other assistant general managers, like we're getting out of The Athletic Zach Kiefer in Indianapolis? I don't read any stories about the Titans about, these monumental upgrades and these Disney movies like I feel like I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know what you're referring to as Zach, but he does a really good job. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, I will be looking for my Disney straight-to-DVD story, Disney, the Quarterback, starring Matt Ryan. Let's go for Jared versus Joe.
Jared Stillman now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game.
I've been waiting on this one.
Okay.
Been sitting on this one since last week. Jared, you go first.
Oh, thank you.
Without Harold Landry, are the Titans screwed?
Yes, they're screwed. There is no way around. There are certain things in life that are not replaceable. Your brain is not a replaceable organ. Kidney, that's replaceable. With certain teams, there are certain people that are not replaceable. A 12-sack outside linebacker who never comes off the field is not a replaceable player. That's why they paid him all the money they paid him, because they did not view him as replaceable. They didn't pay A.J. Brown all that money because they viewed they could replace A.J. Brown. They didn't think about that with Landry. So to take one of the most irreplaceable players off the team on a team that plays in a conference where every team is loaded at quarterback and a schedule that features literally every single good quarterback in the NFL except for Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson, and to say, all right, here you go, when the Colts have a significantly easier schedule than the Titans. As we said earlier today, the Colts are essentially starting off with a 2-game lead in the division. Yes, it matters. Landry is a great player for this team, and you don't just lose great players and stay the same. So what I think, I really never felt like the Titans could win the Super Bowl with Tannehill as the quarterback. I thought maybe they could get there, or they could get close this year. I now don't see that as a possibility. I think their best hope this year is to win the division, but without Harold Landry, they are screwed. And not only that, factoring in the lack of A.J. Brown on the offensive side of the ball, they're absolutely screwed. And the fact that Treylon Burks hasn't replaced them, they're screwed.
So, I guess I need to ask you what screwed means, because Jared just said he thinks they can win the division, but also that they're screwed. I think if a team wins a division, can you be both things?
I don't know. The Washington football team won the division 2 years ago, but let's be real. I think the Titans can be better than the Colts, but this is a team that went to the AFC Championship game, that won the division with an elite offense, that was the number 1 seed last year with a solid defense. And, the reason people were mad when Tannehill threw away the Cincinnati game was because they knew the Super Bowl was right there. They should have won the Super Bowl last year. I think we can all agree with that. Right, Joe?
They should have won the Super Bowl last year?
Yes.
Well, they could have reached it. They could have. I think should have might be a little strong there.
Just the way it played out, Chiefs, Rams, they should have won the Super Bowl. And so the reason people were so hurt by that was because they knew the opportunity that had lost them, that it was no longer there. well, the team was going to try to kind of get a little bit better on offense, stay really, really good on defense, and then try to run it back this upcoming season. And now not only did they probably stay the same on offense by adding some pieces, but losing A.J. Brown and not replacing him with the guy they brought in to replace him, but they are also worse on defense, significantly worse on defense, because they took their leading sacker off the team.
Yeah, it's a significant loss. There's no doubt about it. He's not directly replaceable. I agree with that. He's a very good player, and like you said, he does everything. He's in every situation. He's been incredibly durable. But to say they're screwed, look. I mean, we went through the top people on this team who you would not want to lose, and I think we came Landry at 6, I believe. You know, he's right in there. Top, like there's some obvious guys that you'd put in front of him. One of them is number 22, at least for me. And the Titans, I mean, what they just did last year should tell you that declaring them screwed right now would be silly. We just don't know how things are going to work out. I don't know if Rashad Weaver is going to have some incredible breakthrough season. I don't know if, look, I mean, Jeffrey Simmons could be so dominant. That makes up for some of it. The offense could be a lot better than I think it is on paper. It's just, that's what's great about this game is there are so many unknowns right now. So it's a big loss. It's a big hit, but to declare them anything because of it right now, I think is premature.
And while we're on the topic of replacing things, Joe, you go first. Can this Titans pass-catching core make up for the loss of A.J. Brown?
In one key way, I doubt it. And the key way is that A.J. Brown struck fear into people. He struck fear into coordinators. He struck fear into safeties, into corners. I mean, he was a guy you had to account for. I think there's one player who can possibly at some point do that, and his name is Treylon Burks. And early on, I don't anticipate that. Now, I think if this team is going to do what it wants to do and really be a player in the AFC, he's going to have to get to that point. But right now, if he doesn't, the way things are, they are more diverse. You know, the bulk, I think that there's more depth across the board, especially when you consider what they've done at tight end. So I think Tannehill has more options that are good, and I like that. And I think Woods is going to be good. I think Westbrook-Akine is fine, but you don't have that guy. And I understand, you know, I know on our show people on the text line will come with AJ stats, and he was a locker room problem and all this fantasy stuff, but look, the guy was a player, is a player, and they don't have the game breaker who can take over the second half of a San Fran game, who can go just win you the division at Houston with one huge play, and go into Indy and dominate a game. They don't have that guy. So right now, I absolutely don't think so. They need Treylon Burks to get into that range this year, and I really don't know right now if that's going to happen or not.
So I don't think they can. I think what they can do is I think they can move the ball, and I think they'll have to do it smaller than they've moved it in the past. But it's like I asked Chris Sanders if they could take the top off the defense, and Chris Sanders is like, and ultimately they're going to have to do that because teams are going to load the box against Derrick Henry. And we can talk about whether or not A.J. was one of the best receivers in the NFL or how good of a receiver A.J. was. But A.J. certainly was much better than anything that they have right now. And so while there may be more dependable options, and I think it's great that Tannehill's going to have a slot receiver this year, I'm not going to look at a slot receiver and say that's going to replace A.J. Brown. Just like I wouldn't look at a slot receiver going to Tampa Bay and being able to replace Rob Gronkowski, because there's just not a lot of guys like that. And I've always talked about how I read that, you know, really the moment for Brady where he broke with Arians was when Arians kicked Antonio Brown off the team, and Brady was mad about it. And I think where he harbored that anger was from the fact that they can't just go get another Antonio Brown. They can get another coach. And that's how I feel about A.J. when I look at the pass-catching core they have right now. I mean, when they make that move, when you make a move like that, or if I were the general manager of the Titans and I made that move, I better know that Treylon Burks is going to break some games. And maybe he does, but it's probably not going to happen. And they got to hope that he can stay on the field. But no, they're not going to be able to replace A.J. Brown. Can they replace the raw yardage of A.J. Brown? Probably. But can they have an elite-level offense, which is what they were really kind of trying to do by trading for Robert Woods and signing Austin Hooper to go with A.J. Brown to replace Corey Davis and replace Jonnu Smith? No, they can't. And that's what's going to make it even harder now with Landry out, which they could never have seen that coming. But that's what's going to make it even harder with Landry out, is now the Titans probably stay the same on offense, but they definitely get worse on defense from last year. Do you have a rebuttal, Joe?
Nope.
I feel like we agreed.
I don't like that.
Well, I mean,
Give me a repeat of last Thursday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the spice. Give me the fire.
Last Thursday morning was some screaming. More Jared versus Joe. Maybe we'll scream. More Jared versus Joe on the other side right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes. Like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
Hi guys, it's Andrew. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, today, Wednesday, one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. Even Cambridge has studied our technology. If you're ready to transform your love life, grab your phone. Today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. Also, you'll get a gift that can produce powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that, guys. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is our most lucrative offer ever, worth $1,200. But call today, Wednesday, and qualify totally free. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Hey, it's Jared. Have you ever had a room that just won't cool down like the rest of your home? My room upstairs where I've got all the TVs always felt uncomfortable in the summer, but this year I put in a ductless mini splint from Mitsubishi Electric. This ductless style heating and cooling system allows me to set a temperature for just that part of the house, and I didn't have to remodel or install any ductwork to put it in. My friends at Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical are experts at installing these systems. You can book your appointment in minutes online, like I do with my phone, and their techs will make sure that your new system is installed exactly how it was designed. Hiller techs are background and drug screened, and their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be or services free 100% satisfaction guarantee. If your home isn't keeping your family cool, you need to call Hiller and upgrade to a Mitsubishi Electric Zone Comfort System. This month only, take $1,200 off qualifying Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splint HVAC systems. Visit happyhiller.com today to learn more.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE.
Hi, I'm Trisha Yearwood. The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum offers family and individual memberships, including unlimited admission, access to exclusive events, and more. Becoming a museum member supports our mission and provides a year of free access to the museum's world-class offerings, here, locally, minutes from your home. Visit countrymusichallofFame.org/membership. Join today. Honor thy music.
Never miss a moment of the show. What is this? Check it out. Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexrode. Now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Hey, don't miss the pregame show this Sunday live from Sonny's Patio and Pub, Refuge located at 6th Avenue North in Nashville. Join me and former Titans receivers Chris Sanders and Derek Mason from 1 to 3 prior to the Titans taking on the Giants. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, and Ounce of Hope. Caroline, the floor is yours.
Joe, you go first. Will the Titans make the playoffs?
Sorry, that got cut off. Say that again?
Will the Titans make the playoffs?
I will say yes. I'm wavering a bit. I've got them as a wild card. I am picking the Colts to win the division. But I think the Titans will manage to go 10-7, and I think that will get them in. It'll be close, but I do think that the AFC West is really going to. I know it's a cliche, everybody beat each other up, but I actually think that's going to happen. And you look around. I'm down on the Pats. I don't think the Dolphins are up to it right now. I don't like the Steelers this year. I think they're going to be very mediocre. The Browns are they're not gonna sniff it with their situation at QB. So I think the Titans will grab probably the last wild card spot and get in, but it won't be easy. I'll also say this: even with the Landry loss, I still think it's a very, very if the Titans and Colts are separated by more than a game, that'd probably be the thing I'd be most surprised by. I'd be more surprised by that than either of those teams winning the division.
So, I don't feel comfortable in saying yes or no because I literally have a composite schedule in front of me that I'm going to fill out that's going to then tell me what my predictions are.
But before you look at it, just what does your heart tell you?
That's tough. Because I think Indianapolis has at least a 2-game lead, which means the Titans have to sweep the Colts. But Frank Reich, and I don't think Matt Ryan is the next coming of Joe Montana, like Kyle Brandt said on Good Morning Football. So it's tough. Everybody talks about the AFC West beating itself up, which is kind of true. But think about this. The AFC West plays the AFC South. So while we can sit there and say, oh, the Raiders are going to have this really tough schedule because they have to, you also have to play those same teams too. Now, you only have to play them once. They have to play them twice, but you have to play the Colts twice. So while I get it, I do think that a lot of that's going to be decided by those individual games, like these wild card spots. Can the Titans beat Denver? Can they beat Kansas City? Can they beat the Raiders? Can they beat the Chargers? And they play, the Chargers in L.A. where they never win against the Chargers. They play Kansas City and Arrowhead. Good luck to the Titans there. I believe that game's in Arrowhead.
Yes.
Good luck on Sunday Night Football.
Tease and
so good luck to the Titans there. I just have a heart, I just don't know. Before Landry got hurt, I was going to pick the Titans to win the division. I knew that I felt that way, but Landry was a very important player to this team. I'm torn. As of right now, official predictions tomorrow.
Go ahead, Joe.
But I think Joe's smoking, that stuff that he endorses now when he was talking about, winning a wild card spot. They're not getting a wild card spot.
Well, I mean, that's another point. You did half of the schedule, but that's part of why I do think they'll get a wild card is because, to me, I think it's going to be Chiefs, Chargers in the AFC West. I think Raiders, Broncos are wild card contenders. And I actually like it from the Titans' perspective that those are the two games they get at home. They get the Raiders early. It's a little bit later when they get the Broncos. I agree that those head-to-head matchups could absolutely determine that. And those are the two teams, to me, that are going to be more in their pool of contenders for a wild card spot. And I think, I like the Titans' chances at home a lot better against both of those teams.
So I feel pretty confident that the second team in the AFC North is going to end up with one of the wild card spots. Because they play the AFC East, and I believe they play, Baltimore. We'll use their schedule. They play the AFC. They play the AFC East and the AFC in the NFC South. So they're going to get Carolina.
Division.
So if Baltimore wins the division, Cincinnati's getting a wild card spot. Like that's
I would agree with that.
Just how that is.
Same thing with the AFC West.
The second AFC West team is getting a wild card spot.
Yes.
The third and fourth, I don't know. But the second one, that leaves one wild card spot.
Right.
And I wouldn't completely count out the East because the East gets those games against the Steelers. They get those games against the Browns. They get those games against each other. If Buffalo's really good, then Buffalo will skunk that division.
They'll win that division.
But if Miami is clearly the second best team in that division, then that's 2 wins over the Patriots, 2 wins over the Jets, and then Miami gets, the AFC North, so that's two wins between the Steelers and the Browns, and trying to see what NFC division they play. The North, Chicago, Detroit. So the schedule makes it hard when the Titans, for instance, have to literally play every single good quarterback in the NFL except for Tom Brady and Lamar Jackson. And that's where I don't think they can get a wild card. I think they have to beat the Colts.
But again, you listed half of the teams they play: Chicago, Detroit, also Minnesota, Green Bay.
Minnesota. Man,
there's a lot of Minnesota
love.
A lot of Minnesota love.
You know why? Because Kevin O'Connell's greasing the wheels just like the Colts people do.
Uh-huh.
And so, because Colin Cowherd has gone all in on him, and then he just dropped the other day, I actually talked to the coach on the phone last night. Like, oh, okay, I got it. That makes sense.
Right. But, okay, but are you not putting Minnesota in a different category from Chicago and Detroit? I mean, Minnesota's probably going to be in the playoffs.
Oh, no, let me say this.
They're a decent team.
I think Detroit might be the surprise team in the NFL this year.
Okay.
It has to be somebody. They have stability from an organization standpoint. Like, it's not the first year for the coach. And I always think that teams really grow the second year under the coach. The Titans went to the AFC Championship game with Vrabel his second year. Doug Peterson won his second year. Dan Quinn went to the Super Bowl his second year. Belichick won the Super Bowl in New England his second year. Like, the second year is the year that I kind of put the little magnifying glass on there. And it's his second year. They've got stability at quarterback, who is not a great quarterback, but he is a safe quarterback, and he is a reliable quarterback. And they've got continuity with receivers, and I think they've got a good young receiver, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They play an easy schedule. We went over it yesterday. They play, I am telling you, I would not be surprised if Detroit ends up as a wild card and the second place team in that division.
Yeah.
So I'm putting them in the same category of Minnesota.
But you just cited them as that's an easy team for the NFC East to play. But I'll just go ahead and sort of disagree with you there on the Lions. We'll just leave it at that.
That's your team.
Yeah, that's my team.
No, Joe, don't leave it at that. Give me something.
No, we do not have time for a Lions history lesson. They are not good. It starts with ownership. It's pretty consistent. They've had some great players over the years who have somewhat overcome that, but they won't be good this year.
On that same topic of a team that could potentially be the surprise team this year, is this the year that Trevor Lawrence pops off, and how worried should Titans fans be about him and the Jags? Jared, you go first.
No, I don't think it is. I think Jacksonville's got too many problems on their team. I mean, who's their number one receiver? Like, who's their, go-to number one guy to build around Trevor? They got 2 running backs, and I'm not sure that either guy's an elite guy. Their offensive line struggles. They went out and paid Cam Robinson all that money because they could not lose the tackle because they knew they were going to draft the defensive lineman.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the guy who, when he signed it, was like, that guy!
Yeah, I mean, it was so the contract was confusing, but he's not a bad player. He just wasn't worth all that money.
But he's not a number one receiver. Like, Christian Kirk is the definition of the Floyd Reese theory of, if I pay a number 3 receiver number 1 money, I have a number 3 receiver. And he's the definition of that. That's just because nobody else wanted to come to Jacksonville. So the only way that they can get a guy to come to Jacksonville is they have to overpay somebody they have to give somebody the kind of contract that's like, I can't not take this contract. And that's what they had to do with Kirk. All the good receivers were tagged. Devontae Adams was tagged. And I forget the other one that was really good that was tagged. That's why the Titans had to settle for Austin Hooper, because all the tight ends were tagged. So I just don't see it. I mean, Lawrence, he was great as a freshman in college at Clemson. He was great in that national championship game against Alabama.
Yep.
Outside of that, Trevor Lawrence was a solid, above-average, good college player, but I'm not sure he was ever a great college player. Like, was he ever a Heisman finalist?
Yeah.
Was he?
He was the year that was he the year that Joe Burrow won it? Because it was.
I think so.
Yeah, it was Jalen Hurts, pass rusher from Ohio State.
Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young. Right.
Justin Fields, and I believe Trevor Lawrence.
So, we literally have to be like, was he? You know what I mean?
And he was the year that Devontae Smith won the Heisman. It was Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and
was Lawrence there?
Yeah, and the Florida quarterback, Will Levis.
No,
I'm sorry,
Trask.
Kyle Trask.
But I just never I
Trask.
felt like that first championship against Alabama, he was that dude. He was Andrew Luck, and then after that, he was good. Like, he was a good college quarterback.
Yeah.
But I thought it was almost like trading off of reputation more than it was Cam Newton at Auburn. And so and the 1 year of Urban ruining him, no, I do not think that Trevor Lawrence is going to pop this year.
Trevor Lawrence was objectively a great college quarterback. There's no doubt about that. I think he'll improve this year. I think that he was clearly the number one quarterback taken, and he should have been, and it wasn't some reputation thing. I mean, he has all the tools to be a great quarterback. I don't know if he will be. I think his floor is to be, look, did Urban Meyer ruin him? I don't think he ruined him. I think he wasted a year. His floor to me is to be a good NFL quarterback, and I think he will be that. I don't know if he'll be great. I think progress will be seen this year simply by switching to Doug Peterson. And I agree that those weapons are overpaid, but at least there are some people to throw to now. So I think he will make improvement. They'll get a few people this year. They'll be better. He'll be better. I don't think this is the year to start fearing Trevor Lawrence.
When you say his floor is a good NFL quarterback, who would that equate to today that's a veteran?
I'm trying to think of a comparison of Trevor Lawrence of something. Because the thing about Trevor Lawrence is he really, as an athlete, he's, that's a big part of why, he's where he went where he went, and people still think a lot of him. His floor to me is to be around a high teens quarterback in the NFL. So maybe that's just pretty good. But I think, he's not gonna be just complete lost cause first round pick. I really don't believe he will. I understand he struggled mightily, especially in the second half of last season, but I feel good about him being at least fine, good, pretty good. Great, I don't know, but I do believe still, even no matter what we saw last year, based on what we saw in college.
Do you think the floor is better than Jameis Winston?
That's actually not a bad comparison for a floor. You're saying is the floor better than Jameis Winston's best?
More like just Jameis Winston. I like Jameis.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston. I don't laugh at you if Jameis Winston's your quarterback, but I don't think you're going to Super Bowl with Jameis Winston as your quarterback.
Yeah.
That's probably in the range, And I'm actually really, speaking of him, I'm really interested to see him this year. With the Saints. He had that horrific pick year. He's had all this stuff happen. I actually still think he could be pretty good. Yeah, that's probably somewhere in that range.
Caroline, who wins?
So you agreed a lot today. I'm
We
inclined to tie, but we do not do that around here. The only difference is I don't think that the Titans are screwed without Harold Landry. They are not screwed. I mean, the fact that you think that they're going to make the playoffs shows that they are not
I
screwed.
don't know that yet.
But you lean yes, and then the Lions comment, Joe wins. It's the Lions.
Nobody else wants to make when I say who could be that team this year. We asked Fitz, and Fitz went over all these, and finally I made him pick one, and he said Minnesota.
Yeah.
Who's like the hot team this year to be the – like when I talk about the Bengals, I'm talking about a team that freaking sucked and then took it, It's got to be one of those teams. And no one is
a team that doesn't make sense.
Here, Attababy, here we go. Joe, I do have one comment I need to make for you.
Okay.
I believe you owe Derek Nix and Corey Lucius an apology.
Holy cow. Okay. Well, why would that be?
Because I hear your new spots that you're running about smoking pot, and I just want you to know something, Joe, that you probably had to cover those guys at Michigan State when Corey Lucius got kicked off the team and Derek Nix when he got suspended. And I know that you probably wrote in your columns about marijuana, and now you're endorsing it. So give a shout-out to your Delta 8 company, but then get on the phone and call Derek Nix and call Corey Lucius and give them an apology.
Ordergreen.com. I will tell you, in all seriousness, and that's a heck of a pull by you. Now, actually, with neither of them, there are privacy laws. So in neither case did anything like that actually get written, I don't think, by anyone. So now I'm not going to say either way whether you may or may not be on the right track with that. Those are good. Those names are good polls. I love both those guys too, by the way. They were great. They were great kids.
Well,
So
you
if
should
they
tell
were
them about
puffing
your
a little bit,
greenwebsite.com.
I would absolutely advise them to call it. Actually,
No
And
longer
if they were puffing a
GBO
little
Joe.
bit, more power to them.
CBD Joe.
CBD Joe. I will say this.
There we go.
Joe, let's think about this. When you say that nobody wrote about that, because your two choices of me being able to find out this information is either me developing sources at Michigan State or me using Google. Which one do you think I picked?
Yeah, well, no, that's a fair point. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it did. Yeah, actually, no, you're right. With Nix, it was a police report, so that's true. Nix actually got caught with marijuana, so I retracted him. I don't remember. Yeah, no.
Not the devil's lettuce.
I don't remember what happened. I don't remember Lucius, though, actually becoming unless maybe he actually may have talked about it later himself. So anyway, that's a good call. And you know what? More power to those guys, and I hope that
Call them. Tell them that. Tell them that, Joe. You owe it to them.
Blowing the smoke through a dryer. Blowing the smoke through dryer sheets. Get that scent out of there.
Smart.
All right, there you go. Joe Rexrode, as always, joining us for Jared versus Joe. Appreciate it, Joe. Hop on the phone and tell those guys you're sorry.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
There you go. Joe Rexrode joining us for Jared versus Joe. I did say early in the week, I told Caroline and Ian, I was like, I'm definitely going to bust Joe's ass on these now that he's doing this endorsement for, what was it, GoGreen.com?
They make me laugh every time.
Especially since, it's Michigan State. Isn't their slogan, Go Green?
Oh, it is. It is. All kinds of green that Joe's rooting for.
So what I put in was Tom Izzo marijuana, and the guys whose names came up were the guys I was like, Joe, you owe them an apology. 615-737-1025. Caroline asked a very important question that I just don't know. I have an idea of how I'm feeling, but it's not official. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Monday at 6, it's the Eddie George Show live from 6th and Peabody.
We're excited at Tennessee State.
Each week, the former Titan and current TSU head coach will be joined by Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton.
All of America was watching this game if you're interested in college football.
And special guests to break down the Tigers' latest game and talk all things football.
This league is forever changing.
The Eddie George Show, Mondays at 6 on 102.5 and the Game Nashville app.
Some people were made to follow the instructions. We were made to make our own. To always measure twice and never cut corners. Unless, of course, we've got a compound miter saw. Northern Tool and Equipment is a problem solver's paradise. There's nothing we can't find, fix, or figure out together. We're made for this. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com.
We're Saia LTL Freight. For nearly a century, our team has been committed to driving business forward. From Lady Liberty to the Golden Gate, Superstore to Corner Store. We go that extra mile, expanding our team to better serve you. So trust that when you partner with Saia, we take every delivery personally. Visit Saia.com for all your shipping needs. That's SAIA.com.
National Playmakers Academy with former Vols Buck Fitzgerald and James Stone, along with former Austin Peay Governor Vic Wright, offer one of the best football developmental organizations in the nation. MPA has over 30 NFL alumni, 800-plus college football scholarship signees, and 25 high school football All-Americans. If you have a student athlete in middle school or high school that is looking for the best football training and college football recruiting help around, contact National Playmakers Academy today, 615-456-2680, or email april.mpafootball@gmail.com.
At Third and Home, you can watch the Nashville Sounds from the patio and your favorite college or NFL game in September. All the sports in one spot, plus drink and wing specials, burgers, flatbreads, and more. Don't worry, your game will be on one of the 28 TVs, so you don't miss any of the action. Follow Third and Home Bar on social for all the info.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The start of the NFL season is here. The best place to practice your touchdown dances on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel is kicking off week 1 with a no-sweat bet for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a new customer or if you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if you don't win. Just log in and see for yourself. Right now, I feel good about Derrick Henry getting the rock week 1 against those Giants. New to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM to get started. That's promo code JGM. Either way, celebrate the return of the football season with a no-sweat bet during week 1 and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Max refund is $5 unless otherwise specified, and restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of Chase Willie and D-Mace, former Titans running back Chris Johnson joins the show at 11. We'll talk to Rashad Weaver at 11:30. Silly underdog picks at noon. We get it started at 10 on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Every year people pick the Colts, and the Colts have won one playoff game since Frank Reich got there in 2018. That was beating the Texans in the playoffs in 2018 when Andrew Luck had a great game. So they may be better with Matt Ryan, but I don't see them being a Super Bowl contender. The Titans, as you know, got last year, the loss of Derrick Henry for the second half of the season, and the way they continued to run the ball with a bunch of Texans rejects was amazing, the philosophy. And it's kind of throwback football. And without Derrick Henry and the play action that he provides, Ryan Tannehill's not the same quarterback. So to me, as long as Henry is healthy, he not only gives them a great weapon and a threat to rush for 2,000 yards, but he also is a great weapon for Tannehill to work that play action magic. And I do think, after watching A.J. Brown destroy the Texans, I do think that the loss of A.J. Brown will be significant.
There you go. That was John McClain talking about the division. Tomorrow in the 5 o'clock hour, we will unveil all of our predictions. We will do it just like we did college football, in which we will pick every single game over the course of the season for every NFL team, which will then lead us. Because I think what a lot of people do is I think there's like two ways of doing this that everybody else does it. One way is, AFC West. Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. Just like 1 through 4.
Yeah.
I think another way to do it is they just assign record values. Like, this team I think this team's a 10-7 team. I think this team's a 7-9 team. Like Rich Gannon had his on SiriusXM, and I almost wanted to go back and count to see if that actually equaled the amount of games that there are in the AFC. Or if it was just picking 17 games for every team. This way, if you use the composite schedule and you literally pick every game, there is no way to have any sort of mathematical imbalance. And
like how we did the SEC games, too.
Yes. So that's how we'll do it.
It's hard.
Right now, my gut, I'm leaning Titans over the Colts. I very easily could see myself putting the Colts ahead of the Titans once I end up picking every single game.
That's because I think that the difference, at least in my mind, the difference between the Titans and the Colts is just so thin.
Well, I think the difference is the coach.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the difference between coach is thin. And I think it's a big deal. But
the schedule.
Would I rather have a good coach
and a hard schedule
facing Aaron Rodgers
or a bad
bad coach facing Mitch Trubisky? And that's what it is.
And I would say, a bad coach can lose to a bad team, but also Mike Vrabel's lost to plenty of bad teams out there.
I right now am leaning the Colts over the Titans. No, I'm leaning the Titans over the Colts. Not official, but tomorrow we will make it official.
Weren't you leaning the Colts not too long
after
ago?
the Landry injury? Yeah, I think I was. I think I was leaning the Titans after I watched them in the preseason.
Uh-huh.
Because the Colts offense didn't do crap against either the Bills backups or the Bucs starters. And so I was leaning towards the Titans, and then Landry got hurt, and that pushed me leaning towards the Colts. But I still think Frank Reich is a doofus, so now I'm starting to lean towards the Titans. But we'll see when I pick the games how I'll feel. And that's what we're just going to have to do tomorrow, and we will get all of our answers that way. 615-737-1025. How about the Atlanta Braves, by the way? 10 games back, and now they're in first place, tied with the Mets. They just beat the A's.
Bravos.
So how about that? Good shout out for the Braves. I got a message every single person, specifically guys, but every person in general. We're not going to be gender exclusive on this radio show. I have a message that everybody needs to hear. And you need to hear it right now, this time of year. Do you know what the message is?
I'm not sure.
Ian, do you know what the message is?
I think so.
And do you think people need to hear this?
I guess.
I think they need to hear it. So hear it they will. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Kick off week 1 with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Join today. Get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with the promo code JGM to get in on all the action. Then you can turn game day into payday all season long. I feel really good in week 1, just personally. I feel really, really good about the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson going back to Seattle because I think Seattle freaking stinks. Play your way and bet on more than just the final score. Wager on everything from touchdowns to total yards to catches, and you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present, Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt, and restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Need a new tractor, zero-turn mower, utility vehicle? Try it and buy it at Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field event, Thursday, September 15th at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot at one of Coleman Tractor's biggest sales events of the year. Demo, subcompact, compact, utility tractors, and more. Ask about competitive financing offers. Get a coupon for up to $250 and enter to win an Orca cooler. Don't miss Coleman Tractor of Nashville's Kubota Field event, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on September 15th at Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Fun Shoot.
A new fair is hatching in Nashville. Come on out and experience 10 days of dinner shows, barnyard animals, culture arts, sporting events, and 4 nights of Nashfest with themed music. We have something for everyone at the Fairgrounds Nashville from September 9th through the 18th. Buy tickets early online and save at nashfair.fun, a regional fair with an urban flair. The Nashville Fair. It's a hatchin' good time.
I bought jewelry in New York, I bought jewelry in LA, I bought jewelry in South Beach, I bought jewelry internationally.
Business owner Adam Rothberg knows jewelry. And of all the stores he shopped over the years, his number one place to go, it's right here, Genesis Diamonds.
There's not a real big reason to go visit a lot of other jewelry stores. Everything that you hope to find everywhere else, you may get bits and pieces of it from others, but you come here and it's a one-stop shop. It's everything that you need to have.
From the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds to the top designer brands in the world to a stunning selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You really don't need to go anywhere else. Quality of the pieces, obviously a large selection, a selection that fits into a lot of people's budget, and then obviously good counsel and good advocacy for the people that work here that actually know the pieces and know the jewelry business.
And who aren't paid on commission.
They're not pushy. No hard sell.
All this plus the strongest warranties and guarantees in the jewelry industry, plus nationwide price protection and free service for life on any purchase.
Service you get from Genesis is second to none.
Come discover the store that's got it all. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Nashville Generators presents Power Outage Prepping. What are you going to do the next time you lose power? You can rummage through your drawers for batteries, flashlights, or candles, or you can call Nashville Generators, 615-885-1124, 615-885-1124. Nashville Generators will install a whole house Generac generator that'll keep your lights on, pipes flowing, and Wi-Fi working, so you don't lose a thing. Don't let your family be displaced in the summer heat or freezing cold winters next time there's a power outage. Call the experts at Nashville Generators and be worry-free the next time bad weather comes to our area. Invest in a reliable system that automatically comes on to keep the pumps pumping, the kitchen cooking, and the family frolicking no matter what Mother Nature throws your way. Nashville Generators is the talk of the town. Go to NashvilleGenerators.com or call 615-885-1124 to start prepping now.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
The Nashville Fair returns to the Nashville Fairgrounds, and this Sunday, 102.5 and 106.3 will be there from 2 to 4. Midway rides, agriculture, arts, livestock competitions, fair food including hot chicken on a stick and deep-fried goo-goo clusters and more. Buy tickets early and save at nashfair.fun.
Something about food on a stick that just tastes better.
Something like that. I have a vital message out there that I think the public needs to hear.
Let them know.
A lot of people are going to be drafting their fantasy football teams.
Oh.
No one gives one flying you-know-what about your team. Like, I need everybody out there to know this. Nobody cares about your fantasy team. I truly don't. I used to play fantasy football a little bit when I was like in middle school. And then after about the second year of fantasy football, I was done with it. I do not play fantasy football.
It's fun.
I don't have a problem with people playing fantasy football.
Don't tell them about it?
Nobody cares. Just like I don't care about what you did in Dungeons and Dragons, I don't care about your fantasy football team. And that's what has happened. So what happens is, and maybe this is just because of the job, I don't know, but it's like all of a sudden I'll be scrolling social media and it'll say something like, I picked up Joe Flacco in the 14th round. Nobody cares. And whenever you're having a conversation with somebody, and I can't speak to this because I don't play in these leagues, but I'm going to guess that even for the most part, your buddies that you're in these leagues with don't even care like during the season when you're talking to them unless you're playing them that week. But nobody cares. I'm talking to you, Robbie and Joe. Nobody cares.
So you're not playing fantasy is what I'm guessing?
No.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's crazy because I'll be doing these reads for SiriusXM Fantasy when I'm on the show, and it's like, get your draft done the right way with SiriusXM Fantasy. Tune in today. And all I can think of is, that's a show. Ian listens to that channel.
I do listen to that channel. Yep.
That's a show for people that want insight on their team.
Yes.
That's where they should go. That's where the fantasy people go to listen about fantasy. I don't even mind when I'm driving in to do the pregame show. ESPN has a fantasy show on ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
And that usually airs that morning before I come on with the pregame. Mm-hmm. So I'll be driving and it'll be Field Yates talking about this guy might be out, that guy might be out. I care about that because these guys being in or out actually matter towards the games. But nobody cares that you sat somebody on your bench and that they went out and dropped 47 fantasy points. Nobody cares. There is nothing more. Our lives are so finite, and there is nothing more that is a waste of anybody's time more than fantasy football. Seriously. Nothing is more of a waste than fantasy football.
Okay, that's a little
There's not
much.
a single activity that I can find to be more wasteful of life than time spent on fantasy football.
Video games.
Unless it wins you money.
That's true.
No, that's gambling. There's actually, nobody actually wins money playing fantasy football.
Yes, they do.
Sure they do.
Like real money.
I won money last year when I won my league.
How much?
Like $350. Took Dylan out to a nice steak dinner for whipping his butt in fantasy.
Fantasy football. Nobody cares about your fantasy team.
Did you just
Nobody cares about
Did
your
you
fantasy
lose
league.
your fantasy league and have to do something embarrassing and now you have a bad taste in your mouth about fantasy?
I don't play fantasy.
Back when you did.
The last time I played
you
fantasy
jaded about
was
fantasy?
my ninth grade, 2004. I took Dante Culpepper, I think.
Nobody cares.
And let me finish. About week 3, I was done screwing with the lineup every week.
And that's the thing is, unfortunately, and I am embarrassed to admit this, I am in 4 fantasy football leagues this year.
Nobody cares.
But I know for certain that 2 of those leagues, after week 2 or 3, nobody's going to touch it. And then I can just stop caring about it.
Robbie Stanley says, are you mad that you didn't get invited to the Robbie and Retro Fantasy Football League? No, I'm okay.
I'm mad.
Then
I didn't get the invite.
You take it up with them. The Tennessee Power Hour, Jonathan Hutton, Chad Withrow, they're next. Stillman and